closed captioning provided by Beaufort County.
Good afternoon. I'd like to call the meeting of caucus for Beaufort County to order. This is This is November 10th, and we would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. The flag is behind us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Did you put your name on That's mine.
I'd like to confirm that this meeting was advertised in compliance with the Freedom of Information Act. Ms. Octavia?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda for the caucus meeting? Okay. We have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor of approval of the agenda for the caucus meeting?
Aye.
That is unanimous. And we may have Councilman Passman online later, but at this time...
He's online now.
Is he online now? Okay, great. Thank you.
Oh, there he is.
All right, so we have a full house. At this time, I'd like to read out the number 6, which is executive session. We have 3 items under South Carolina Code 30-4-70A1 to engage in discussion incident to employment, appointment, compensation of a person regulated by a public body. That's discussion of criteria and process for procurement of outside legal counsel, and that will only be the council members and Ms. Harriet in that portion of the executive session. B, under South Carolina Code Section 30-4-70A2, legal advice related to discussion of negotiations incident to proposed amendments to contractual arrangements, Justice Square Properties in Beaufort. And C, under South Carolina Code Section 30-4-70A2, legal advice related to discussion of negotiations incident to proposed contractual arrangements, intergovernmental agreement with the town of Bluffton regarding design and construction of a road in Beaufort County. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll motion.
Okay, we have a motion, Ms. Brown, and a second by Vice Chairman Tabernick. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of going into executive session? Okay, we will adjourn to a room that direction in the back corner. There may be items to come out of executive session. All right. We're not adjourned. We're going to recess to executive session.
All right, let's
Okay, we are back in from executive session during caucus, and we do have some one item to come out of executive session. I want to make sure that Councilman Passman can hear us before we start. Okay, we're good to go. All right, we have a motion out of executive session from
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Lawson.
Madam Chairman, I would like to make a motion. I move the council authorizes the county administrator to negotiate and enter into a cost-sharing agreement for the design of Holly Hill Lane with the town of Bluffton and Village Park.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And a second by Councilman Cunningham. All in favor of this motion, please place your sign of hands. And that is unanimous. There being no further business in caucus, we are adjourned from caucus. And I'll look to are we ready to start? Give me the signal when we can start the regular session.
This is
Good. All right. At this time, I'd like to call the evening meeting of November 10th to order of the regular county council. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. by Councilman McGowan.
Pledge allegiance.
Please remain standing for the invocation.
Dear wise and loving God, we thank you for your many and abundant blessings. We thank you for life itself and for the measure of health given us to fulfill our duties. We thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing serious responsibilities. We ask as a body we promote peace, order, and justice, and that you graciously grant us the wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our times, to have a sense of the true needs of our citizens, to have a keen thirst for justice, to understand and to clearly see what is good, fitting, and appropriate, to have the ability to work together in harmony even when there is honest disagreement, and to have personal peace in our lives and joy in our tasks. Finally, please help us to ensure our deliberations here tonight benefit those who live and work in our extended community. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
A motion?
Okay, Councilman Brown, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
And a second by Vice Chairman Tabernet. All in favor of approving the agenda by show of hands? And that is unanimous. We have the minutes from caucus and county council meeting of October 27th. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Councilman Lawson and a second by Councilman Brown. All in favor by show of hands. And those minutes from the county council caucus and council meeting are approved. At this time, I'd like to read a proclamation. And as many of you know, the federal government is shut down still, but I'd like for any, I know we have one retired Marine in the room. If Brian Hulbert could come forward. Are there any other Marines in the audience? Please come forward. To Mr. Brown. Before I read the proclamation, Ms. Octavia reminded me this meeting was advertised in compliance with the Freedom of Information Act. Confirm? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Oh, great. I had the privilege of working for 20 years for the Marine Corps, but a great group of people, as we all know, and I'd like to read this proclamation. Whereas on November 10th, 1775, the Continental Congress established the United States Marine Corps, calling for the raising of 2 battalions of Marines to serve as an elite fighting force at sea and on land in defense of our fledgling nation. And whereas for 2.5 centuries, the United States Marine Corps has faithfully upheld its proud motto, Semper Fidelis, always faithful, symbolizing the enduring loyalty, honor, and courage of every Marine who has worn the uniform. And whereas from the Revolutionary War to the present day, Marines have served with distinction in every major conflict, safeguarding the freedoms and values that define the United States of America. And whereas the Marine Corps has become a symbol of strength, discipline, and sacrifice, embodying the highest traditions of military service and selfish dedication to country. And whereas Beaufort County is honored to be home to the Marine Corps Air Station Beaufort and the Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Parris Island, 2 vital installations that play an integral part in training, readiness, and national defense, as well as contributing greatly to our community. And whereas it is fitting that Beaufort County recognizes the 250th anniversary of the United States Marine Corps and expresses profound gratitude to all Marines, past and present, for their unwavering commitment and service to our nation. Now, therefore, it is resolved that Beaufort County Council does hereby proclaim the 10th day of November 2025, 250th anniversary of the United States Marine Corps in Beaufort County, and urge all citizens to join in that special observation. Dated this date, 10th day of November 2025. Thank you.
She didn't ask, but I'm going to say it anyway. Happy birthday to all the Marines across the globe and in the heavens, and a special blessing to the family members of those deployed Marines around the world.
And
Okay. At this time, we will move along with the agenda. Administrator's report is next.
Good evening, Madam Chair, County Council. It's great to be back with you. Tonight we have we're going to start with some employee pendings, and we're going to recognize, first off, Shakia Polite, who I saw earlier. I know she's here. Come on up, Shakia. So Shakia is the IT Systems Director. She's been with the county for 15 years. Yes. Some highlights or notable contributions as the IT Systems Director. She has transformed technology operations by building a high-performing IT department and has significantly improved service delivery. Under her leadership, Beaufort County is successfully migrating to cloud infrastructure, enhancing agility, and reducing on-premises cost. And also, she leads a great team, so we're grateful for your service. Okay, next we have LaShawn Jefferson, Hazardous Materials Coordinator. So she's been with the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office of Emergency Management, and for years of service is 20 years. Some highlights. Originally, she came to work for Beaufort County Communications in March of 1995. She was there until August of 1999. She returned in June 2005 and continues to serve to this day. She later advanced to manage the Communications Center before moving to her current role as a Beaufort County Hazardous Materials Coordinator. She continues to complete required training, which enables her to train new employees for the Communications Center. So thank you for your service.
I just wanted to thank council and everyone for the recognition. It's been a long ride. When I started, I didn't know I would be of service to the community, but it turned out that was my calling. And I'm just appreciative. My family's here supporting me. They've been with me the whole way, and I couldn't have done it without them. So I thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Madam Chairman,
Did you want to take a picture?
could we have your family just to stand?
Have her family come up for a picture?
Thank you. And is that your mother?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Can you take a picture?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Got balloons too? Wow, that's great.
Look at you.
Flowers, oh, how nice. Precious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have Elizabeth Hope Bishop from the Sheriff's Office. So she's been with the Sheriff's Office in the county for 25 years. Some highlights, and her title is Sheriff's Technician 3. Some highlights or notable contributions. Hope started her career in the Criminal Records Division of the Sheriff's Office as a data entry specialist. She was soon after promoted to the position of Judgments Clerk, where she was responsible for the execution of judgments that are filed at the courthouse. She is currently assigned as the Civil Process Clerk, where she is responsible for receiving and processing all documents for the court, common pleas, magistrate court, and family court pertaining to summons, complaints, and subpoenas that result in court appearances or settlements. So, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Okay. And next, we have Eric Callandine, Lieutenant with the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office.
You see,
So his title is Lieutenant. He's been with the county for 25 years. Some highlights include he's been a valued member of the Sheriff's Office, served in many capacities, most notably as a SWAT officer and a criminal investigator. He currently oversees criminal investigations south of the Broad, as well as victim advocacy, Project Lifesaver, and regularly gives lectures about financial exploitation and theft at many community events. We thank you for your service.
Mr. Moore, Lieutenant Callandine is a regular face in Sun City. He speaks to neighborhoods all the time about all the scams, because some of the people are scammed. I mean, we've had people scammed out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. So he has a great presentation. I advise anyone to invite him. He's really good. We've had people lose $250,000.
Thank you, County Council. Again, I love going to presentations and my passion for elder fraud and scams. So it's something I do all the time, and Tab's been through plenty of my presentations.
Yep.
It's something I'm passionate about to help stop that next victim from sending money, because we have so much money leaving Beaufort County. As Tab, last year alone, we lost $3.1 million in fraud. We're almost $2 million this year. So it's a lot of money we're leaving in Beaufort County. The citizens of this county, they're losing money, and it's a passion of mine to help stop that next person from losing money. So I appreciate the years of the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Tanner gave me an opportunity with all the things I get to do. So it's been a great 25 years. Again, I'm thankful for those in the audience from Beaufort County Sheriff's Office who've been there through all we've been through experiencing. They're a family. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our pinnings. Next, I have a few updates. On the Emerging Leaders, as you know, Emerging Leaders Group is where we invest in and train our workforce to develop the leaders of tomorrow. As part of the program, they host 2 signature events each year, the Women's Conference and the Christmas Tree Lighting Ceremony. In the audience today, we have 2 members of the group, Sonny McElhaney and Shane Bowers, who are serving as the chair and vice chair of the Tree Lighting Committee. They would like to provide a brief update and extend a special invitation to this year's event.
Thank you. Oh, great.
They're appropriately attired.
They're appropriately attired.
Way to go.
Get us all in the mood for the holiday.
This is a great day.
Members of County Council and fellow citizens of Beaufort County, my fellow Albany and I have come all the way from the North Pole to personally invite you this year.
Thank you.
On behalf of the
Thank you. You look great.
this lighting will take place on December the 12th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Thank you very much.
There will be lots of activities for the kids, including Christmas movies, crafts, games, and lots of other activities. So please, also food trucks, or come home. So please come out and support the county and join us in this great event, Christmas tree lighting.
All right.
Thanks all.
Thank
It's
you.
great. Yeah.
We're back in the North Pole. We'll leave a little cold weather.
Okay,
think there'll be a
next I've got
special
some
guest
good news.
too.
You all are aware of this, but I wanted to mention this in the county and the council meeting. We've recently been honored with 2 prestigious awards from the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada, or GFOA, recognizing the county's continued commitment to financial excellence, transparency, and accountability. The first award was a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, or ACFR, for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2024. This certificate is the highest form of recognition in government accounting and financial reporting, and it represents a significant accomplishment by government and its management. The ACFR provides valuable insight for county council, administration, departments, and taxpayers regarding how public funds are managed and spent responsibly. The other achievement, and same week, we received the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for the FY 2026 annual budget. This award reflects the county's dedication to meeting the highest principles of government budgeting. To earn this recognition, Beaufort County's budget met nationally recognized guidelines, assessing its effectiveness as a policy document, financial plan, operations guide, and communication device. And we've received this award for the first time since FY 2023, and it highlights the county's ongoing efforts to enhance fiscal transparency and accountability. These achievements underscore the county's strong financial stewardship and professionalism of its finance team. We extend our sincere appreciation to the finance department staff for their hard work, dedication, and commitment to excellence in serving the residents of Beaufort County. We're unable to have members of the team here tonight, but we want to recognize them all the same.
Well, thank you.
And lastly, as we all know, but not least, tomorrow is Veterans Day, and I wanted to note that Operation Greenlight for Veterans is an initiative that involves illuminating public buildings and businesses in green lights, typically from November 4th through the 11th, as a show of gratitude for the service and sacrifice of all veterans. The program aims to raise awareness about unique challenges veterans may face during transition to civilian life, and to let them know that they are seen, appreciated, and supported. Operation Greenlight is also an opportunity to raise awareness of the county resources available to veterans and their families, such as health care, employment, and benefits. Beaufort County will join in the celebration by displaying green lights at several of our county buildings throughout the month of November. These include the Administration Building, Arthur Horn, Public Works on Shanklin Road, and Veterans Affairs Offices both north and south, which is here, this building as well. So with that, I'd just like to wish all our veterans a happy Veterans Day, or good Veterans Day, and appreciate their service. So if there are any questions, that concludes my report.
Any questions for our administrator?
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you. All right, moving on the agenda, we have a presentation, food drive presentation by Ms. Marshall with Beaufort County EMS.
Good evening, Council, Chairwoman. My name is Virginia Marshall, and I work with Beaufort County EMS. I've been a paramedic for about the last 18 years with the county. Getting ready to celebrate my 18th year this December. And we go into people's homes. We go and visit people when they are in their worst possible time, as law enforcement, fire department, and my agency. And one of the things that we see people struggling with, these individuals, is that they're having to make choices between whether to get medication refilled or put food on the table. And quite too often we see a lot of food insecurities. Earlier this year, we had a statistic of about 8.1% of Beaufort County residents are struggling with a food insecurity. And we've got lots of agencies that help out, but these agencies are struggling. As you know, with the government shutdown, the SNAP benefits not being 100% in effect, these agencies, the need is outpacing what these agencies can do. So 4 years ago, we created the Beaufort County First Responder Food Program. And what that is throughout the county, all the fire agencies, Beaufort County EMS, and all the police agencies have come together, and we have several donation locations, which you should have a flyer in your packet. If you do not, I can get one to you guys. And we made the decision to work with Bluffton Self-Help and Help of Beaufort. Both of these agencies, as of the end of October, they've been in existence for over 30 years, and at the end of October, the Help of Beaufort was telling me that they were providing about 21,000 pounds of food. And their Fresh Express event that they have, where they provide produce to people on an annual or a monthly basis, has doubled, especially as it was getting closer to benefits being taken away at the beginning of November. Also, when I spoke with Bluffton Self-Help, they were saying at the end of October they had 600 families that they were helping, and they were giving over 400,000 pounds of food as of that year already. And so their numbers are increasing, as our Help of Beaufort, to about 15 to 20% more than what was going on in 2024. So I'm here before you today just to give you this information, ask that you help to disseminate the information to your constituents, to any of the organizations that you guys belong to, that we are looking for in-date, non-perishable items, whether it's a canned good, boxed good, diapers, anything like that. And we are collecting, we started November 1st, and we are collecting through December 12th, and we'll distribute between the two agencies the following week. We have boxes throughout the county. One of them is at the admin building near the entrance where the UPS drop-off is. But if you have an organization that might want to participate, we'll be more than happy to get a box to you. And we will also help with the assistance of pickup and delivery. And on that, are there any questions that anybody has about this program and what we're trying to do right now?
Any questions? I think you have a lot of good places for drop-off, and they're in that flyer, the list of them.
Yes, I've got, we've got locations, Habersham, Sun City, Moss Creek, Dawtoff, Fripp, a couple other of the EMS and fire stations, just strategically placed for that, as well as Port Royal PD and Beaufort PD and Bluffton PD. Yes, sir.
Is there a specific place you guys want, like large drop-offs? Or
If
can
you-
any place take them?
Any place can take them, or you can give me a call or email me, and we can come and pick that up for you if you've got something like that. And I can provide you my number if you'd like that right now.
Okay.
Could you repeat those numbers from Self-Help and Bluffton and then Beaufort, Help of Beaufort?
Yes, ma'am. So this was at the end of October, and Bluffton Self-Help was saying that they were serving at that time 600 families and had already distributed 400,000 pounds of food.
400,000, okay.
And so about a 15 to 20% increase. And then Help of Beaufort, and give me 1 second to find that exact number, but they went up to about 215 people, where normally they, for their Fresh Express event, where they normally only do about 150 in a 2-hour time frame, they had doubled that in that 200 time frame. So
Thank you. Thank you very much.
you're welcome. Thank
All
you
right.
so much. Have a good holiday.
You too. Thank you. Okay, at this time, we will have the public comment period. We have 8 people, I think, signed up. I'd like to read this statement before we start. Every member of the public who is recognized to speak shall limit comments to 3 minutes and observe the following protocol. Address the chairman, and in speaking avoid disrespect to council and any personalities. Confine themselves to questions under the jurisdiction of the council, and be mindful and respectful of those who are present and others who may be watching on television. And we will do these in the order that they signed up. And you'll come up to the podium. Ashlyn Morris. And there's a 3-minute, come on up. And we have a timer, a 3-minute timer. Okay. The topic is cell tower in the Whale Branch area.
Yes. Good evening, Council. My name is Ashlyn Morris. I am a representative of Whale Branch. I am also a representative of the student government, along with my colleagues here. So I wanted to bring up the subject of a cell tower at my school because there are a lot of issues that bring up with it. There are a lot of ethical and also academical issues with it. First things first, with the lack of cell, we have a hard time with medical issues and also with emergencies. We have a difficult time contacting our loved ones under lockdowns, and we also have students that have medical issues like diabetes that track on their phone, and they can't do that because they don't have any cell service. That is just one of the few ethical examples. As for academic, we have a lot of problems. As you know, nowadays we use our cell pretty often, and we also use it for our seniors for college applications. We tried doing that, but we had to do it twice because the QR code that they would scan, it wouldn't work because of the lack of cell. We were just very curious about being able to have a cell tower, because there was an instance where I believe 10 years ago, we were asked for a tower, but that never came to be. So I just wanted to really bring this up. It was also mentioned in our superintendent's meeting that they were looking for land for a cell tower. We are not asking for Wi-Fi, we're just merely asking for service so that way we can up our academical and also keep our students safe. That's really our two biggest issues here with the cell service as a whole.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Okay, next is Councilman Dawson.
If I might?
Yes, sir.
Mill Branch High School is in my district, and so I think the student government body for coming and expressing your concerns to address the issue of lack of internet service and the request for a cell tower to be placed in the area. I don't know if that's an issue that council can address, but I would ask Madam Chair if you'd refer the matter to the county administrator and see if he can coordinate with some of the cell tower and internet providers to see if we can get something going there.
Well, we appreciate them coming tonight to speak up too, and our county administrator's information, if you want to get it, his contact information tonight, you can do that. Okay? Is that?
Thank you all.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Yeah. He's right. Mr. Mike Moore, right over here. Okay. All right. Next is signed up is Felice LaMarca, text amended, subject CDC. Good evening.
Good evening, Felice LaMarca. I hope everyone is doing well. I have read this text amendment several times, and I need to read it several more times. It concerns me that the county is actually getting more into private property rights than perhaps you should be. And when the first paragraph talks about civic pride and general welfare of the people, I will ask you to remember general welfare of the people. The purpose of this division is to preserve local heritage. I'm not going to read that whole paragraph to you. Designate historic properties as well as non by establishing the section the county seeks to. Again, I don't need to read all of that to you, you have it. Cultural heritage involves all cultures. I'm recently learning about our Native American Indians that were here hundreds of years before the French and Spanish arrived. It's really fascinating. So I'm all for heritage and preservation. But I want to give you two examples with the little bit of time I have left. I showed property on St. Helena, and there were 2 cemetery headstones there. If you accept this 25 feet and 50-foot buffer, you will possibly take this person's backyard. And I really think that government needs to be seriously considering whether that's what you want to get into. That's historic preservation, but the destruction of someone's quiet enjoyment of their property. The other thing that is very important to me, since I've been in Beaufort, I've been walking the streets. I'm in the Bluff neighborhood a lot, feeding our feral cats and trying to keep them warm in weather like this. I've gotten to know the people that live in these neighborhoods. Not well, but somewhat. Their houses are decaying. Their houses are falling down. I see them come to City of Beaufort council meetings and plead to lessen the regulations. They cannot afford to keep their homes, to repair them. So why are you trying to make it more difficult for these people? General welfare of the people. Who? Who is this for?
Thank you. Next on our list is Larry, Michuda. It's Felicia's husband, and I'm sorry, I had spelled it out. Larry, CDC text amendment.
Hi, Larry Michuda. I just want to follow up with some of the things that Felice has talked about. And part of it's just wanting for you to think about some of these things on this CDC, as we say, text amendments. It's actually more seeking more power to do things. The whole reason, I mean, some of the things that aren't even specified here, but you want to become a certified local government with the National Park Service. And it will help generate grants and funding, but it also specifies that it adds strategically strengthens existing programs. Well, what does that mean? Strengthens what? We've seen a lot of things get strengthened over the last few years, and sometimes you're not aware of what's been strengthening. These questions aren't answered in here. And Felice mentioned the burial site proposal, 25 feet and a 50-foot buffer. The 25 feet says if you have a fence, 25 feet from that you can't do anything. With something that's not specified, it's a 50-foot buffer from the last place. Again, you're taking over personal property or defining personal property and saying they can't do something with it. And the people buy it. The law, the existing law says that you can go and visit the thing, visit the site, which is appropriate. But to start telling you what you can and can't do around that site doesn't seem to make sense. Why do we need to create this become a CLC? That's one of the questions on the questionnaires, and it's not even specified in here is why we're doing it. And the fact that one of the things that says, oh, well, the two of the committees would recommend approval of it. Well, why wouldn't I? Because I wrote it, and I'm asking you to approve it. So I'm going to recommend something, all right? I wouldn't say I'm not going to recommend it. I know that came up in the last meeting, and I think one of the council members said we're going to send it away for additional information. Well, I haven't seen anything. I'm not sure that something was done about that. But I just think that you have to really think about doing this and making sure that if you designate properties, historic properties, there's a way to eliminate some properties out of that particular area, because we've already run into situations like that where you may have an opportunity or a need that really benefits the community and we can't do it because nothing is specified in there. I think that really has to be identified. And really, I would also want to know what are the existing issues that this is supposed to address, because what you had in there was fine. All they did was copy questionnaire information into that document and made it more explicit.
Thank you.
A lot more stuff.
Thank you for your comments. Next we have Councilman Mitch Mitchell from, if he's coming as, I don't know if you're coming as city council member tonight or not, but you are signed up for public comment. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Council. I was coming as a private citizen this evening,
okay.
But I withdraw my request to speak, as Ms. Alana Jenkins will speak to the same subject that I was speaking for.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for coming tonight. Next is on our list is Miss Elena Jenkins Marcel. Okay. And Charles Lynn Brown Community Center is subject.
Yes. Good evening, Chairwoman and council members. My name is Alana Jenkins Marshall, and I've had the privilege of serving as chairperson for the Friends of the Charles Lynn Brown Center. And we are just here to say thank you. Standing with me are fellow task members, or rather sitting in the audience, which include Beaufort Councilman Mitch Mitchell, as well as Ed Allen. Our organization began as a task force formed in a direct response to community needs. Neighbors, educators, and advocates coming together to ask how we can better serve families who are in our area. Through your steadfast commitment and partnership, the community center has transformed. Physically, yes, but also symbolically. It now stands as a living testament to what is possible when county, city, and community move together forward. The renovations to date and the future opening of the new gym show what can happen when collaboration replaces silos and shared vision replaces individual effort. This progress can be seen as a blueprint for how Beaufort County can continue to operate and meet the needs of all its residents through open dialogue, mutual respect, and purposeful investment. I'm gonna hand him to somebody, just so that Your continued leadership ensures that Beaufort County remains not just a place where we live, but a place where we thrive, where every neighborhood has access, opportunity, and pride. On behalf of all the citizens served by the Charles Lynn Brown Community Center, we want to say thank you for your partnership, dedication, and for your belief in our community's potential. You have all shown that when we work together, we build not just for better facilities, we build for a stronger community and a better Beaufort County. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming tonight, too.
Of course, thank you.
How old is, and we do all this for the next generation, right?
Exactly. He's been to the Charles Lynn Brown Center a couple times, so we're looking forward to the gym so he can crawl around.
Okay, great. Thank you for being here. Okay, next signed up is Mr. Elvio Traviano.
Good evening. Thank you, Chairwoman Howard. Thank you, Alana. Sorry, I don't want to pop your balloon. That was awesome. But I'm here tonight to talk about decisions and how Beaufort County citizens should trust that decisions that are made by this body are made in an informed manner. Every week, this body is asked to decide things that carry lasting and long-term consequences. Decisions can only be made based on the information that you're given. And that information, in my opinion, after being here for a little while and watching and listening, is that that information isn't always complete, accurate, or fair. We all hear all the time from the public that we have a desire to rebuild trust. But the truth is, that's an impossible task, an insurmountable one for you guys, unless those you rely on for information give you the whole truth and all of those facts, not filtered, bureaucratic nonsense designed to make decisions for you. When information is withheld or manipulated, you're not making policy, you're managing someone else's narrative. I've been in nearly every meeting over the last 3 years. I've watched how words get twisted, how outcomes are predetermined long before it gets to your guys' desks and votes are taken. It happens at the smallest levels. Last week we're talking about storage containers. It'll happen again tonight as we discuss some egregious rationale for historic preservation, and it'll keep happening until accountability and fairness are demanded over self-preservation and special interest. Those two aren't mutually exclusive. Beaufort County has a reputation, unfortunately, of being impossible to work with, and this is because the rules are consistently changing. That's not your fault. It's been going on forever, but when I'm asked how do I navigate it, historically I would say do the right thing and it'll be reciprocated. But I don't say that anymore because every time I've done that, poof, the rules change, and it's changed to make your decisions and presume your decisions without the full facts. That's not governance, that's obstruction. On the 22nd of September, this was on full display when this council made decisions regarding a development agreement between myself and the county. This was based on incomplete legal information, falsified federal documents, and a process designed to thwart public transparency. A few examples: a signed settlement agreement, one that would have resolved all pending litigation and resulted in a complete removal of legal risk to the county, was never conveyed to you guys despite being requested by your legal counsel. 2, the staff report you relied on contained language that was manipulated from a federal document, language that was deliberately altered to block a single project and predetermine your analysis. Third, we often talk about transparency, but after a months-long private negotiation, the public had 3 days to review a 1,000-page agenda packet. They never had a full understanding of what was before them, and candidly, I didn't think you guys did either. Your constituents should have faith in that when you vote, you're voting on truth, not spin, omission, and certainly not the handiwork of outside influence. Losing control of our own decision process should frighten everybody, and this happens every single day. I'm just a public example. I'll wrap up right now. In the coming weeks, I'll be sending everybody here complete information that should have been conveyed to you on the 22nd. Every document, every missing piece, every outcome. And my hope for this is that it clarifies not just one decision, but reestablishes accountability so that all decisions that this body makes are made with the appropriate information, because that's what your constituents deserve. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Next signed up is Arnold L. Brown. This is our last public comment person.
Well, here we go again. First of all, I want to thank you for the decision. I want to apologize for not coming back sooner after September 22nd. I sincerely apologize. I was trained better than that. But I want to thank you for the decision that you made on the 23rd of September at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I also want to thank you for recognizing the services of not just the Marine Corps, but all the other veterans that are in this audience and sitting in this room as well as being in the audience. One of the things I learned a lot of good principles in the Marine Corps. One of the things I learned, which was not in the service manual, is that always have somebody to blame. Okay, I was an officer in the Marine Corps. If you don't have somebody to blame, you will be court-martialed, you will be held responsible. And you can see that from time to time on Paris Island. When somebody dies, it's not just the act of God, somebody's held accountable. The incident that happened at Willie's, somebody should be held accountable. Okay, I was asked by the media, who should be held accountable? They said, should the police department be held accountable? I said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. They should have done this, they should have done that. I emphatically disagree. The police department, it was not there to prevent that crime. Those who own that establishment, and they are responsible, and the patrons, they are responsible. If that shooting were held on Paris Island or Quantico or Camp Lejeune, somebody would have been in prison by now. Okay, somebody would have been court-martialed. Somebody would have been held responsible. Accountability. There were, in my opinion, numerous violations on that night, on the 12th. I hope those are being looked into. Okay, I think one might be serving alcohol on a Sunday morning. I don't think that's allowed. I don't think that's legal. There's some dereliction of duty. Those people lost their lives. They lost their uncles, their father, their brother. They lost someone. I hope the attorneys are listening, and I hope the attorneys come out and represent these people and try to recover as much as possible for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. At this time, concludes our public comment period. Next on the agenda is liaison and committee reports. I'll kick it off with a report. Beaufort Memorial Hospital Board met on October 29th. There's several things to report from that. TCL is starting a nursing apprentice program in conjunction with Beaufort Memorial Hospital that will actually include being paid by Beaufort Memorial Hospital, and if they sign up for it, they will be obligated to work 2 years at Beaufort Memorial Hospital. There are 8 students who have signed up with this new experimental program. They anticipate more cases of colds and flu and COVID, and providers are providing fact-based information to patients who are asking questions regarding vaccinations and prevention. Some good news also is the affordable housing Live Well Terrace in the Bluffton area, which is 120 units, is going to break ground in February of 2026. And the hospital is working with Clayton Homes on a project across from the hospital on Firehouse Road. They're working with a development agreement for that for 18 workforce home sites with a letter of intent to start on due diligence. And that is all the news I have from Beaufort Memorial Hospital. Is there any other, we'll start at this end, any council members that would like to report on any meetings? Or let's start with Councilman McAllen.
No, I have no green space committee meeting. The next one will be December 19th, final one for the year.
Okay, Councilman Dawson, do you have any?
I don't have any report.
Councilman Cunningham?
Yes, ma'am. We have our next Public Facilities Committee meeting on Monday coming up this following week, I believe the 17th. And also, Madam Chair, if you wouldn't mind, if I could have 30 seconds for a point of personal privilege as well, just for a notice. I'm providing this notice to my fellow members and the public tonight that I intend to make a motion at our December 8th County Council meeting to rescind the vote to descend the vote of that council took at the September 22nd council meeting on agenda item 13C, an ordinance to approve a development agreement between Pine Island Property Holdings, LLC, and Beaufort County. Just wanted to serve that as the public notice.
Okay, Councilman Brown?
Thank you.
I attended October, time has gotten away.
Design and review.
October 22nd, I think it was. Southern Carolina Alliance had their annual networking event, and I met a lot of new mayors from different towns, and also I also played golf with some people from other county councils. So it was a really good day, and the weather was perfect, but I learned a lot from other councils and what they do, and mayors, what they do too, as well. So
great.
It was a good day. Anyway, thank you.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
I'm going to skip to Councilman Passamit. Do you have anything to report?
Yeah, I report will be this Thursday.
Okay, thank you. Vice Chairman Tabernac?
Okay, so I attended Soloco meeting, that's the Southern Low Country Council, on October 28th, and our Juliana presented the results of the plastic bag, utensil, and straw survey. She did a great job. I want to commend her on that, and there were some good questions, and she's sort of running the circuit, going to the different council meetings, so she did a great job. The school district had a very long and interesting meeting. They did not exceed our time limit of 8 hours, Mr. Smith, but it was long the other day. They had an ad hoc policy meeting that discussed live streaming of board meetings. As you know, we live stream through BCTV, but that's only for the meetings, and they're looking for to do their committee meetings, so they're looking into that. And in the board meeting proper from executive session, there was a motion to purchase property in southern part of the county. They did have a great presentation by the CLOC, the Citizen-Led Oversight Committee, which I've reported several times. It's 8 people with different backgrounds spread throughout the county. They announced that the 2019 referendum is 99-point-something% complete, and they are under budget, so they are to be commended for that. The 2023 referendum, the largest project is the new high school on Hilton Head. Students will begin to move in next fall, and then the building will be torn down over several years. Ladies Island Middle School project is just getting started. One of the board members questioned there will be no auditorium in the plan, so there was a discussion about the auditorium. Then the chair talked about what does the clock actually do? Citizen-led oversight, that was interesting. The board chair of the school district has been invited to present at South Carolina School Board Association on passing 2 referendums, which together amount to the largest school referendums in this state. Then for county council's knowledge, they discussed the Lobico property, which we've all talked about, where the county has that little tiny library that's well used, and the abandoned building the district owns next to it, so that'll be coming forward. And then there was a presentation on the state accountability system, the school district's report card. It was very interesting, and I recommend people watch the recordings. And then in our South Carolina Association of Counties, I ripped out the pages, but I just want to recognize Beaufort County Solid Waste and Recycling Program Manager, Victoria Hoffman, was named Public Works Program Manager of the Year. So I think that's commendable. And Bradley Harriet made that recommendation. Also, our chair, Alice Howard, was recently named the 2025 Environmental Legislative Official of the Year by the Environmental Education Association of South Carolina. And the third thing was we received a write-up. We got the most write-up in here, Beaufort County, but our write-up talked about Beaufort and Jasper counties have established a new intergovernmental agreement in response to growing animal services needs in Jasper County. This collaborative effort to provide support and stability reflects a shared regional commitment to public safety and animal care. And there's a giant write-up. So that's in the SCAC. And the last thing, just to remind everybody, our next chat with council, the last one for the year, is November 20th, next Thursday, 6 o'clock, Bluffton Library.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Bartholomew.
I'm going to keep mine short. At the last Community Services Committee meeting, we had two discussion items that were the primary focus. Fire consolidation or restructuring of our fire districts, in particular northern Beaufort County. No action was taken on that. We did decide to save some consulting fees and have the chiefs look into it themselves and bring the initial report back to see if it's even a viable option. The other thing, we got an update from EMS regarding the fourth shift. I believe that is actually going to help with the overtime. It seems to be working and effective, getting the applications in, but we're still a developing process, and we're going to keep an eye on it as it progresses.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Lawson?
I just have one thing out of Finance Administration Economic Development Committee. We have one thing on the consent agenda, which is a purchase order for maintenance for one of the mosquito control helicopters, and we meet, our next meeting is next Monday, the 17th.
Okay. Councilman Glover?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The Natural Resource Committee did meet on the 3rd of November. There were several items on the agenda. One led to the discussion of allowing containers, shipping containers to be used for agricultural use. And that's being discussed and has been directed right back to the staff to make some recommendation. Also, at that meeting, we dealt with the green space recommendation to look at purchasing some property on Ladies Island by Ladies Island Middle School, property that would be donated right back to the school for their use. That should be coming before us. And then the committee also dealt with about 16 different parcels of land that over the years through the Rural and Critical Land Program, the county owns and purchased, and they are actually looking at classifying that, recommending classifying that as nature preserve land. A lot of the land had different classification on that. So that's coming before this body. And I think the last thing was a opportunity to partner with the city of Beaufort for a passive park on Boundary Street, which is known as the South Carolina Volunteers of African Descent Park. And that will be coming, that is being right now worked on through staff in a relationship with the city of Beaufort to move that forward. We are not having, as I know of, a meeting in December. So, Madam Chairman, I'm assuming that January the 5th would be our official meeting date for the Natural Resource Committee. I'm not too sure. But I'm just going to throw that out. There is no need for a meeting at this time for December that I know of.
Mr. Moore?
Do we have the...
Okay.
Okay.
We still have the calendar that needs to be presented, correct?
Confirm that?
The 5th is the first Monday.
Okay.
It is the first Monday. Oh, by the way, the Planning Commission did meet on the 3rd of this month, and they have one item that they're basically unanimously recommending for a change of zoning on property in the Corners community on St. Helena. So that should be coming to this body at the next Natural Resource Committee. Thank you.
Councilman Reed?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. The next airport board meeting will be Thursday, 10 o'clock on Hilton Head Island. And Palmetto Breeze, they have been communicating with us. They're about $300 and some odd $1,000 short of some money, and it may mean some reduction in service. So this council is going to look, I think, hard at that with our budget workshop the end of the week, I believe. So that's it to report.
Okay. No other reports at this time? I'll entertain a motion. Oh, yes, Councilman Dawson.
Tomorrow is Veterans Day, and the annual parade starts tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a parade, a float in the parade?
We do not. We're planning on a Christmas parade, being in the Christmas parade. So didn't have enough people sign up for the Veterans Day parade. So,
okay.
We'll look for support for the Christmas parade in the city of Beaufort, which is the first Sunday of December.
Oh, that's when.
Yeah. So count on that. Thank you for asking. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. We had items originally.
I'll make that motion.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Dawson. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, approval of the consent agenda? And that is unanimous. Action items, number 12A, designation of December 26, 2025 as an additional paid holiday for county employees. Mr. Moore, do you want to address that? Or?
The this went through committee, and staff recommendation, committee recommendation is to authorize the 26th as an additional paid holiday for county employees.
We have a motion to discuss.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion and a second by Councilman Bartholomew. Any discussion about designation as December 26th, additional paid holiday for county employees?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
we talked about this. It makes sense because where Christmas falls, and to give the day to our employees to recoup for next year, and so I'm in favor of this motion.
Any other comments?
They've earned the day off, for sure.
All right, do we have a motion to designate December 26th, 2025 as additional paid holiday for county employees?
We have the motion.
We have
It's
to
already
discuss. But I thought that was to discuss, the motion to discuss. Okay, all in favor, signify by raising hand. That's what we had to. And that is unanimous, great. B is authorize the county administrator to implement a FY 2026 personal leave time PLT buyback for employees.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion by Councilman
I'll
Lawson.
second.
Do we have a second by Councilman Cunningham? Does anyone have any questions about what this involves?
We
Ms.
have
Mead's
HR
here.
Director, Ms. Mead, standing by for any questions.
Yes, Ms. Mead's here. If anybody has any questions.
I actually do have a question,
Okay.
Madam Chair, for me. I've talked to several, in particular, our first responders, and they seem to accrue a lot of hours. I think this is great what we're doing. I know we got a budget for it, but is there anything that we can do to look at some of those folks that have accrued the vast amounts of hours that they're unable to get rid of beyond just the 40 hours?
Beyond this, if there was a desire with council to look at the cap before it rolls into the disability leave, because I know that's what we hear primarily, is that once they hit the 320, it rolls into disability. And with all the benefits we offer, it's rare that you would be eligible to use that. So beyond this, that could be a potential consideration, is to increase the cap, which we did just last year.
Yeah, I was gonna say we did that.
It used to be 280, and we increased it to 320 in January of last year. You could consider an adjustment just for your public safety employees with the PLT buyback, but I don't want to speak out of turn with what's been budgeted.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I'm not trying to change this right
yeah.
now. I just figure it's an opportunity to talk about it. So.
Yeah, the PLT cash out is something I think this will be the 10th year we've done, so it seems to be pretty consistent and supported by council. So going forward, if we wanted to talk about increasing that max for just public safety, we could certainly bring those numbers forth and look at that.
Okay. I just want to see if it's feasible. Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion?
I guess just to piggyback them, is that something we can put on one of our workshops in the future to discuss? I mean,
Yes.
rewarding the employees that aren't missing work is usually the name of the game.
Sure.
So,
Yep. Next time, would be good. Keep that in mind for discussion. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Signify by raising your hand. Okay, and that is unanimous. So, thank you, Ms. Mead. Now we have ordinances for third reading. We'll turn it over to Vice Chairman Tabernet.
Okay, ordinance 2025/46 is an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of utility easement number 907041 for right-of-way owned by Beaufort County known as Dolphin Watch Point, located on Ladies Island. There were unanimous votes at the Public Facilities Committee meeting on September 15th, the first reading and public hearing on October 13th, and our second reading on October 27th. Can I have a motion for ordinance 2025/46?
I'll make the motion to approve ordinance 2025/46.
Thank you, Mr. Bartholomew. Second?
I'll second.
Mr. Cunningham? We have a motion and a second. Anybody have a question? We've already talked about this. It's third reading. Any question or discussion by council? All right, thank you. Let's take a vote. All in favor of this ordinance 2025/46. Raise your hand. Thank you, it's unanimous. Ordinance 2025/47 is an ordinance to appropriate excess funds collected from the 2018 transportation sales tax. The vote was unanimous at Public Facilities on September 15th, at the first reading and public hearing on October 13th, and the second reading October 27th. Can I have a motion for 2025/47?
So moved, Madam Chair.
I'll second
Vice
that.
Chair, sorry.
Thank you, and Ms. Brown seconded. Any discussion? Again, we've talked about this, so the public knows we've talked about this 3 times. Any questions, discussion? All right, all in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you, that was 2025/47. Ordinance 2025/48 is an ordinance to appropriate $848,912 to St. James Baptist Church from the established project funds for the associated furniture and fixtures related to this project. The vote was unanimous at Public Facilities on September 15th, at first reading and public hearing on October 13th, and at second reading October 27th. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. McKellen.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson, for the second. Any discussion? Again, we've talked about this numerous times. Thank you. All in favor of this ordinance, please raise your hand. And it looks like we're unanimous. Thank you. I'm going to move on to ordinances for second reading. Ordinance 2025/42, amendments to the Community Development Code, Division 5.10, Historic Preservation, Section 7.2.120, Certificate of Appropriateness, Section 7.3.80, Historic Designation, Section 7.4.50, Public Hearing, Scheduling, and Notice, and Section 7.5.40, Historic Preservation Review Board. And the vote at Natural Resources Committee on September 2nd was unanimous, and the vote at first reading of this body, which was a public hearing, September 22nd, was 9-2. Can I have a motion for this ordinance?
I'll make a motion.
Ms. Howard makes a motion. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Glover, second. Do we need discussion on this?
I'd like to discuss.
Okay,
Yes.
do I want Ms. Forbes to present, or who's going to present this?
I think Mr. Kidd, Dylan.
Oh, Mr. Kidd, come on up. Mr. Merchant, you can toss a coin for it, it's okay. It's Mr. Merchant coming up and Mr. Kidd right behind him. All right, you're on.
Okay. As you remember, this went to the previous council meeting. At that time, there was no action taken. There were some edits that were offered to staff at that moment. And I think that the agreement on council, and I can't remember if a motion was taken or if it was to have staff consider those changes.
There was not a motion as specific amendments. It was
You have to speak into the mic.
Yeah, I'm
please.
sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember if an actual vote was taken, but I think it was generally agreed upon to delay vote at that meeting and give staff time to review comments. We've begun initial review of that. We've reached out to the state, and we recommend, I mean, if council wishes to move forward and consider these changes, that we remand this back to staff and the Planning Commission and come back through the process, because we believe, there's significant enough change that the Planning Commission should have a chance to review it and make comment. Did you want to add anything?
Nothing more to add to what Mr. Merchant has said. We know that there have been edits offered.
Speak in the mic. Sorry.
Yeah.
There have been some edits offered, and we know we've spoken with the state as well to look into some additional edits. And so, from what has been offered to staff to date, it seems as though it would constitute nearly an entire rewrite. So we feel that we should remand it back to the beginning to consider any edits that the council may wish to have.
All right. Should I amend my motion to
Madam Chair,
move it back to Planning Commission?
I believe staff's official position is to move forward with the text amendment before you, but if a majority of council desires to consider the proposed amendments that Councilman Bartholomew put forward, then that would take a vote and a second, a majority vote. But until you have a majority vote, it should not be remanded back. So you need to decide as a council, does a majority want it to move forward as written, or does a majority want it to be remanded back and start at the very beginning to consider these other amendments? So all of council has to decide for themselves, and then a majority has to give staff the guidance. Either move forward with the second reading as before you, or if you want to entertain changes as proposed by Councilman Bartholomew, then that should be a motion by Councilman Bartholomew. He'll need a second and a majority vote to amend it or to remand it back.
Thank you. Mr. Bartholomew?
If I may. I never got any feedback on the amendments I put forward. I have not circulated it to all of council. I was hoping to get feedback from staff and have some collaborative process in this, but it never happened. And to move forward with it as written, I have some serious issues. The public has serious issues with this. I'm not emotionally tied to any one of these amendments, but I think they need to be discussed. I thought this was going to be included in the backup material for council to review, which is why I didn't push the issue. And so at this point, I'd be making a motion to rescind this, a motion to have this referred back to the Planning Commission to have further review and further analysis done.
Yes.
I'll second that.
And I'd like to just, I submitted some comments to Mr. Bartholomew. We went back and forth on this. So I too was looking forward to some dialogue. So I support the motion.
So
David, can I ask when you sent those in?
an existing motion, the other motion that I made, I can rescind that motion?
Well, this one would take priority to remand it. So first you should vote on whether or not to remand it back to the Planning Commission with Councilman Bartholomew's proposed changes for discussion to fully vet it, if that's what council wants. But it takes majority vote.
To the Planning Commission?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the motion on the floor. Any other question, comment? Mr. Cunningham?
One question, one suggestion / comment. Mr. Bartholomew, when did you send in those? So
I believe 1013 was the last edits that I did to it.
He did it at the first reading that afternoon, so we got it right before the meeting, a couple hours before the meeting, I think.
And that month, we're not getting any feedback from his comments?
The staff discussed it with the state, as I understand it, got some comments. They had some proposed changes, but then the decision was to, you need a majority of vote before you can amend it or anything. So he could either vote to amend it and discuss it here, or because staff thought that the changes were so significant, to discuss fully those changes, it would be better to have a complete rewrite and vet it at the Planning Commission. So council needs to decide, do they like what's in, does the majority of council like what's here at the second reading, or would they like it to go back and be discussed at the Planning Commission, starting the process over?
I guess that my only suggestion would be, Mr. Bartholomew, because I'm on board with you, that's a little frustrating, I guess, on your end for that, and Ms. Brown is the second. If I were you, I'd encourage you to move it after it goes back to staff, that it go back to committee so we can actually put it on an item to discuss and work through it. I believe that's Mr. Glover's committee, correct?
Well, that would be the natural progression, correct?
But it would go back to planning commission.
I just don't want it to come back to us on second reading with those amount of changes. So it should go from staff, then to committee to go through that workshop process. I'm not saying we're going into a workshop, but us to have that dialogue back and forth about those changes before we bring it back to council.
I think that's the natural progression.
It would go planning commission, then committee, then council, because it would be a completely different ordinance.
It's a natural way.
You know, and if I may, I guess a point of personal privilege on this, you know, I don't want to sit here and have to make a line-by-line motion to amend this. I'd rather work on it holistically and together. But this is not the first time I haven't gotten feedback on amendments. I'm trying to work and create policy, not just rubber stamp policy. And I've said this privately, and this continues to happen. And it's frustrating. I'm just throwing it out there.
I understand your frustration, but you have to understand staff's frustration about getting those changes at that stage. It's better to get it early on, either at planning commission or at the committee level where it's supposed to be vetted.
I understand that the first reading was at the 9/22 meeting. There was not an opportunity to truly discuss that with 500 people in the room.
No, but
that was the first time I was made aware of it.
But our practice is to vet these ordinances at the committee level.
Right, I'm not on that committee though. I work a job too.
I understand.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Anybody else? Mr. Glover?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I think I don't have a problem with this going back to committee, even the planning commission. I think staff is bringing this forward to us. They have brought this through the planning commission back in June, and it came before council in September, I believe, at the Natural Resource Committee. And if there were any substantive changes on this, I mean, it should have been brought up at that time. I don't know why Bartholomew had not at least alerted that he had some amendments that he wanted to make. Did you do that?
If I may respond, since I was...
Yeah.
I didn't know it was coming through. Do you have time to read everything in the packet of every committee of this entire county? No, as soon as I saw it and read it, I made my amendments and sent them in. I've circulated them to a few members on council, private people in the community. I got working on it as quick as I could, but I don't keep track of everything that comes through this county. There's thousands of pages of stuff that comes through this county.
Did you send it back to staff? Did you send it
Yes,
back to the
I sent
committee?
it to our attorney and went through the proper channels on our side. I'm not supposed to have direct communication with our staff.
No, I never received anything that I know of.
Yeah, I didn't send it to you. I sent it through our attorney to have it disseminated. I went through the proper channel to try to get the amendments done because we're not supposed to have direct involvement with staff, directing them what to do.
All right, Ms. Howard?
Yes, I mean, there's no rush, and we want to do this right, so I will vote to send it back to as the motion said, back to the Planning Commission so we can have more discussion and go over it in a careful and thoughtful way.
And
anybody else, Mr. Cunningham?
Yeah, I mean, just on the logistics of this completely, I guess.
I'd encourage them to have a meeting with staff before it goes planning.
If we're obligated to send it to the administrator or our attorney, because we should not be engaging in conversations with staff that way, because that's a council member taking something on their own, which is part of what we changed in the last election cycle. That was the entire purpose of it. So I'm going to be honest, Brian, because you were going back and forth with him and I guess defending staff, but I don't necessarily put that on staff. My question would be, if staff gave something to you, then it should have came to us. So unless you're saying staff did not give anything to you, then it should have came back to David. I don't know, because I wasn't a part of that conversation, but I don't want to necessarily say, I'm not saying staff dropped the ball, I'm not saying you dropped the ball, Somewhere it did, and this isn't the first time, but I'm not always going to say it's staff, I'm not always going to say it's you, but we're not privy to that information. The public thinks we just see and read everything. There's thousands of emails, thousands of pages. It's impossible, physically impossible.
Yeah,
so my question is, where was that ball dropped so we can fix it and get accountability?
I don't think the ball was dropped. I never saw any proposed changes that came back. It didn't come back to my level because the decision was made that it would either go forth with second reading or be remanded back for a full rewrite because it was too extensive. And then part of the discussion was going to be to meet with Councilman Bartholomew and other interested council members to vet it, discuss it, to explain what could happen before that planning commission if it's remanded back, if this is what a majority of council wanted to do.
Then why wasn't that discussed before we came in here today when we were actually supposed to take a vote on it today? That should have been done before we walked in this room today.
Discussed at all. Silence.
That doesn't make sense. We should have known that before we walked in the room. Hey guys, we need to discuss this. It needs to go back. So you can either remove it from the agenda or go ahead and just as soon as it's on there, do this at the beginning of the meeting so we don't have to do all of this.
Okay, Mr. Lawson.
Yeah, I am glad to see it going back. And when this first came up, we asked why we were even doing this ordinance and amendment, and we were told we were mirroring the state laws, and we found out that some of the things in here. Yeah, just going back, I'm glad to see this going back. I think there was a lot of questions from everybody, and I'm glad David has brought this up and stayed passionate about it. I know when this first came up, council asked why we were even doing this, and we were told that it was going to mirror the state laws. But we're finding out now that it's actually not mirroring the state laws, so that's why this needs to be looked at closer, and we need to make sure that we're doing what's best for the citizens. And there are some things that are important, but then again, I'm a property rights person, that we need to make sure that we're not overstepping our boundaries as a council and as a county.
I'd like to call a question.
All right, the question is called. So we have a motion on the floor. I'd like you to restate it, Mr. Bartholomew, so everyone's clear what they're voting on.
The motion is to remand this particular item back to the Planning Commission for further review and then to have it go back through the process of committee and back to council.
Thank you. All right, everyone in favor of remanding it back to the Planning Commission? I think it's unanimous. Thank you. Now we have to vote on the original ordinance.
No, it's remanded back. So
it's remanded back. Okay, we're done. Thank God. Okay.
Madam Chairman, before you move any further, could I get a copy of all the things that Mr. Bartholomew has put out? Because it seems to me that it makes sense to have every council member receive that information so that we can be prepared as we move forward. We can't just have information given to a few council members.
It's a FOIA issue, but I'll send it to you directly.
I'll send it to all council members tomorrow.
All right, thank you. Okay, I'm going to move on to ordinance 2025/49, an ordinance to amend the business and professional licenses ordinance, chapter Article 3, section 18-67AB, appendix A and B. This is a public hearing. The vote at Natural Resource Committee, October 6, was unanimous. The vote at first reading of this council, October 27, was 7-3. Can I have a motion for this ordinance?
So moved.
All right, thank you. That was Mr. Dawson, a second.
I'll second.
Ms. Howard seconds. Mr. Atkinson? Oh, Mr. Edmondson's here, okay. And this is a public hearing, so if you want to give us a little bit of information on this for the public. Thank you.
Good evening. At committee, this was presented as every other year, the state has a unified business license code that they update the schedule of fees, and that's what this does, is adjust the schedule of fees and certain NAICS codes, which is how they classify certain types of businesses. At the committee, there was discussion over some additional language that was discussed at that point that we could address separately, but there's a time-sensitive nature to adopting the schedule of fees and NAICS codes to be in compliance with the state business license rules.
All right, this is a public hearing, so no one signed up for it. Is there any member of the public that would like to discuss this item or opine on it? Okay, seeing none, I'll close public hearing and ask County Council if you have questions or discussion.
I'm not going to be voting for this. I believe it has unconstitutional language on its face. I know I probably voted for it when I first got in office, but after reading it more carefully, I cannot vote for this ordinance as written. But Yeah, that's it. Just voting no.
I agree with Mr. Bartholomew.
So we need a roll call.
Voting no on this.
Let's do a roll call.
Take a roll call?
Okay, yeah, we can do a roll call, but I want to just reiterate, Mr. Edmondson, this is to change the fees at the end, or whatever, the business license fees. Where'd he go? Oh, it has to be done by December 31st.
Right, this is something that the state had a lot of work that went in from the State Chamber of Commerce, Municipal Association, and Association of Counties at the request of the State Chamber to unify how certain businesses are classified and how they are charged, so that they don't have to have 46 different county applications and 200 separate city applications. And so this is just the schedule of fees, not any amendment to the rest of the ordinance, just adoption of the new schedule of fees to make the uniform charge.
And I'm correct, it has to be done by December 31st?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion or question? All right, let's take a roll call vote, please. Who's doing roll call? Yes, okay, go for it. It's your big moment.
Councilmember Dawson,
Yes.
Chair Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Reeds,
Yes.
Councilmember Passman,
Yes.
Councilmember McEllen,
Yeah.
Councilmember Lawson,
Mark Lawson, yes.
Councilmember Glover,
Yes.
Councilmember Cunningham,
No.
Councilmember Brown,
No.
Councilmember Bartholomew,
No.
You forgot me.
Vice Chair Tabernet.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Just for information, if this hadn't passed, we would have been in violation?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on. Ordinances for first reading, here we go. 2025/50 is an ordinance to amend ordinance 2022/46. And for the public, that means that ordinance was passed in 2022. Authorizing the county administrator to execute any and all documents necessary for the sale of county-owned real properties identified as 1407 King Street and 600 Wilmington Street in the city of Beaufort. The vote at Natural Resources Committee October 6th was unanimous 7-0. Anyone for a motion, please?
I'll make the motion and put it on the floor for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Cunningham. Second for discussion? I'll second it. I'm allowed to do that. Mr. Edmondson and Mr. Kidd, you would like to address this, please. Thank you.
Good evening again. My name is Dylan Kidd, Deputy County Attorney. I also have with me Richardson LaBruce, who is our outside counsel on this deal that was voted upon previously involving Justice Square.
Hang on a second. People, can you hear him in the back? All right. Go ahead.
So as council members may recall, this purchase of land by Mr. Wheeler and his group was initiated with a purchase and sale agreement that was entered into in February of 2024. We, by agreement, amended some of the deadlines and terms within the original purchase and sale agreement last December. We have now, the Justice Square folks have now come back and asked for some alterations to that contract. The one before council tonight is simply a reduction of the affordable housing units to be constructed from 39 as contained in the original PSA and the amended PSA to a total of 33. So that is the scope of what is before council this evening for a vote. Should you agree to make that amendment, we would negotiate a second amended purchase and sale agreement pertaining to this project.
All right. All right, any comments? Oh, yes, Mr. Hubbard.
Did we do a motion to put this on the floor?
Yes, I
Yes, we
motioned
put it
and
on the
seconded
floor.
by Ms. Tabernet.
I second it. So any questions for Mr. Kidd before I go to the developer and Senator Davis? All right, thank you. You're off the hook. Senator Davis?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of council, I represent Mr. Wheeler, who's with us today, who is the purchaser in this transaction. And I'd like to, if you'd indulge me for 3 or 4 minutes, to kind of give you some background on this transaction. It's relatively lengthy. It began back in 2018 and 2019. At that point in time, the interim administrator was John Weaver, and there was an interest in the county in selling what I refer to as the King Street property, which is about 1/2 of the King Street block. The other half is the county jail property, which Mr. Wheeler has already purchased. And the other piece I refer to as the Wilmington Street parcel, which is a block of property owned by the county. On the King Street property, the half owned by the county has the former DHEC administration building where they used to have administrative staff. I believe they vacated that premises now. The Wilmington Street property contained another DHEC facility, which is the health facility, which is still being utilized, but it's my understanding that there are plans to move it at some subsequent point in time. So there was some dialogue back with Mr. Weaver, and also at that time, as interim administrator, Mr. Wheeler indicated an interest in buying the county property for some housing and some affordable housing. Those discussions progressed into 2019 when Ms. Ashley Jacobs was administrator. So that's the second administrator we spoke to. And she indicated at that time that there was going to be an auction at some subsequent point in time where the county would entertain offers or bids to purchase. That was in 2019. In 2021, Mr. Wheeler purchased the half of King Street where the jail is. So he purchased roughly half. He acquired that. The county didn't have that piece, so the county land still remained with the county. But he closed on and purchased the jail in September of 2021. In May of 2022, I believe it was, the county began an auction process where it solicited bids from the private sector to purchase the 1/2 of King Street property owned by the county and the Wilmington Street property, which is the block also owned by the county. Mr. Wheeler, I believe you were the only individual to have submitted a bid at that auction. And subsequently, there was a letter of intent entered into with the county to purchase that real property. But a lot of work had to be done before that LOI that was signed in October of 2022 between Mr. Wheeler and the county and go into a purchase and sale agreement, because you had to go through a city design process. Then you had to go through the historic review board process. And by the way, I should mention, I've been involved in this since 2018, so this is my 7th year working on this particular project with Mr. Wheeler. And that particular historic review process with the city and the historic review board was very detailed, time-consuming, and we finally got approval from the historic review board in the historic district of Beaufort in 2023. I believe it was in November of 2023, which then allowed me to begin work with Mr. Richardson LaBruce, excellent attorney, negotiate a purchase and sale agreement between Wheeler and the county, and that was the first PSA, which was dated February 16 of 2024. Well, the plan all along was for Mr. Wheeler to apply to the South Carolina Housing Authority for small rental development program funds, which are essentially federal pass-through dollars. Federal funds are appropriated, and then there are state agencies that then administer through a grant process. So the idea, the overall objective for Mr. Wheeler in regard to the half of the block of King Street and the block on Wilmington was to build 6, or at that time it may have been 7 houses, non-workforce houses, on the King Street property owned by the county. Contemporaneous with that, he was going to build 6 other non-affordable housing on the jail site on the King Street. So he'd have 13 at the time. It was reduced to 12. So there are going to be 12 market-based properties on the King Street property, and there were going to be 39 workforce housing on the Wilmington block property. 39 at that time. That number wasn't just picked out of the air. That was the maximum amount of affordable housing that SRDP, that the Small Rental Development Program, would allow to be built on that property. So that's how 39 came to be put into the contract. The idea was for the Beaufort Jasper Housing Authority to put $1 million toward this acquisition. Mr. Wheeler was going to put down roughly $1 million in equity toward that overall acquisition. And then the balance of $10 million to complete the construction of the 39 workforce housing units were going to be a series of forgivable and non-forgivable loans from the Sacramento Housing Authority using those small rental development program funds. Okay, so that's the overall deal. Problems were encountered after the signing of the PSA because there was an environmental analysis done on the property, and it was discovered that previously on the King Street property, there had been a gas tank removed from the property, but no final action letter had been obtained by the county from DHEC to check that box. So we couldn't apply, or Mr. Will could not apply to the Housing Authority until that was remediated. So he again spended the money and got that particular issue remediated. He was first able then to submit the application to the Housing Authority in July of 2024. We had to then remediate the gas tank and the problems that were associated with not getting that not final action letter, and that necessitated in December of 2024, as staff indicated, a first amendment to the PSA, which adjusted the timelines for getting certain things done because there had been these delays up front in terms of getting HRB approval of the design, remediating the environmental problems. I mean, so we had to extend the deadlines, and so that was done. And Mr. Wheeler continued further diligence in regard to the property, which has been extensive over this 5, 6, 7 year period. He's out of pocket about $250,000 in hard dollars, hard money, $250,000, not to mention 7 years worth of all staff time, other time that he's put into it, just hard dollars. He's out of pocket $250,000. We finally went back before the Housing Authority for what we thought was final review on these small rental development program dollars. And then we were told for the first time in August of 2025, so we're talking about 2.5, 3 months ago, that because of earthquake standards, earthquake drainage standards, and that they had to abide by to get these funds, that the maximum number of affordable units that could get on that Wilmington Street block went from 39 to 33. And it's important to understand that that's the max that we were told then could be built, 33. We thought it was 39. That's what we were told years ago. Then these earthquake requirements came in, which required further spacing of the houses and reduced the number of affordable houses to 33. And so we had to get the purchase and sale agreement amended again to reflect that the max was no longer 39, it was 33. And staff decided that when we made that request, and we were up against a deadline, of days away from a deadline for the Sacramento Housing Authority for the award of these funds, the $10 million worth of forgivable and non-forgivable loans. And I was negotiating with Mr. LaBruce, and we were working on amendment, and we thought that we had it all lined up in time to get it adjusted, to submit to the Housing Authority, to be in line for that $10 million award. Mr. LaBruce submitted it to the administrator and staff, and they were of the opinion that the reduction of units from 39 to 33 constituted a material change in the contract that required council to approve rather than staff approving it via an amendment as we had done in the earlier amendment. So as a consequence of that, we missed the deadline to submit for that $10 million, and so now we're not going to be able to submit until next year again. And so I guess there's a couple, I give that by way of background because in my opinion, and I don't mean to belabor the point here, but the objective on the county standpoint has always been to maximize the number of affordable housing units could go on that Wilmington Street block. It was thought to be 39 when the purchase agreement was signed. because of things beyond Mr. Wheeler's control and standards that were imposed, that became 33. I considered that and still considered that to be something within staff's authority to negotiate via an amendment outside of the council approval process. We could have met the deadline. I respect the decision that they made. I think you've got an excellent administrator and an excellent county attorney, so I don't mean to be debating that point. But that's why we're here today, is to amend the contract to acknowledge it's going to be 33 units instead of 39 on Wilmington Street. And that was unanimously approved, not surprisingly, because that's the maximum you can get on that block. So there's no sense in, but quibbling about that. But a couple of equitable factors come into play here. At this point, in about 90 days to 120 days, Mr. Wheeler will apply again for housing authority funds. If that is successful, that money is not going to be available until 2027. Okay, so he's about 2 years away from being able to going ahead and start to clear that Wilmington Street property and build those 39 or 33 now affordable housing units. Why is that important? Because the PSA, as originally drafted, called for Mr. Wheeler's closing on the King Street property to occur contemporaneously with the closing on the Wilmington Street property. And I understand why that was important to the county. It wanted to make sure that those affordable housing units were built. They didn't want him to just go forward and close on the King Street property, build the market houses, and then not pick up and close on the Wilmington Street property and build the 33 affordable units. I understand why that was important to the county. They didn't know Mr. Wheeler. He was somebody doing business with the county for the first time. But I would submit this to you. In the 7 years that he's been working on this, diligently working with Historic Beaufort Foundation, the City of Beaufort, the South Carolina Housing Authority, putting $250,000 of his money into getting this qualified, he's no longer an unknown entity to y'all. I mean, you know he's a good faith actor here. And if the contract stands as written, with the two closings linked, with the two happening contemporaneously, he won't be able to do anything on King Street in regard to that property for another 2 years. Okay, now you might say, well, why doesn't he just go ahead and begin renovating the jail and building on the portion of King Street that he already owns? Well, it's because all of the infrastructure that has to go in there, with Dominion with power lines, water and sewer, all those things are much more efficiently done as an entire block rather than having them do half of it and then waiting 2 years and then doing the other half. And so one of his requests is going to be, not tonight, because I understand tonight's first reading, but I would like the opportunity, and Mr. Wheeler would like the opportunity, to make the case before you all as to why there should not be a linkage or a shackling of the two closings together. I think that there are other ways at this point in time that council can satisfy itself that Mr. Wheeler is going to go forward with closing on Wilmington Street and building those 33 affordable housing units. Beyond the fact that he's already put $250,000 into this and done all this work, there are things you can do in terms of reps and warranties and penalties and things of that nature, but he has to move forward. He can't wait 2 more years before he begins building on the King Street property. So one of the things that I would like to see this amendment do, really the only other thing I would like to see it do, or one of two things, is separate those two closings and don't require them to happen contemporaneously. The second thing is the total sales price is right now $1,055,000. And under the current PSA, that's allocated with $855,000 is allocated to the Wilmington Street block and $200,000 is allocated to the King Street property. Mr. Wheeler would request a reallocation of that total, not a reduction in the purchase price, but a reallocation of $1 million of it going to Wilmington and the remaining $55,000 to the portion of the King Street block for this reason. That entire $1 million that would be allocated then to the Wilmington Street property is reimbursable and can be paid for with South Carolina housing funds. Okay, so they're dollars that are approved and dollars that can be taken up and paid for in that way. Whereas if you didn't have that reallocation, only $855,000 of it would be. So it's economically advantageous to Mr. Wheeler. And at this point in time, after 7 years, his return on his money is going down, 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 down. So those would be the two things that I would like to see included in this purchase and sale agreement as amended. Not only the recognition that the max that you can put into the Wilming Street in affordable housing is 33 instead of 39, which is before you now, and which we agree with, but also a reallocation of the purchase price for the reason I've indicated, and a decoupling of the two closings and other assurances provided to county in regard to Mr. Wheeler closing on that Wilmington piece, because it's just not economically possible for him to have the two closings separated like that and to wait another 2 years to begin building on King Street. So, and I would like to point out this as well. The King Street property involves an obligation on Mr. Wheeler's part to demolish the existing admin building that's now been vacated, to environmentally mitigate it, because it's got environmental issues associated. He's got to absorb all those costs. That's about $400,000 he's got to pay for out of his pocket, in addition to the $250,000 he's already put in. So I don't know what the most appropriate way to proceed is, whether or not to give it first reading and then to let me work with staff in regard to putting something before you at your December 8 meeting for consideration for a further amendment, or if it's more appropriate to have it remanded back to the Natural Resources Committee so that we have an opportunity to make that equitable case at that level. I wasn't able to be at that Natural Resources Committee meeting. I was out of town when they met, so I don't know exactly what was laid out or what was explored, but I do think, given the facts as I presented them, members, that those equitable adjustments are warranted. And I don't know if it's better to do it after first reading and then negotiate it between first reading and second reading, or to have it remanded back to the Natural Resources Committee. We have a little bit of time. I mean, the application for the next round of funding with the Housing Authority isn't for another 90 days. So you could remand it to the Natural Resources Committee, give it first reading on December 8th, and then give it a second and third reading in time and meet those deadlines. Or conversely, we could do first reading today and then try to work on amendment over the next month. Either's acceptable to Mr. Wheeler, but he would like the opportunity to make that case to each of you and to explain why economically we think that's a fair way to proceed.
Thank you, Senator. Questions or comments from council, please?
Madam Chair, if
Yes,
I may.
Mr. Cunningham.
One, I would like to make a motion to extend past 8 o'clock, if I may.
Oh, okay.
I'll second that.
It's seconded, motion made and seconded, all in favor? Okay. You don't get to go till 2 a.m. though.
I got nothing but time for y'all. Little unorthodox, but I actually would like to make, if the chair would allow, a motion to add an executive session to this meeting and put this item on it for us to further discuss.
I'll second that.
From my understanding, I think we'll need a supermajority to do that because the agenda's already been approved. I just think that there's been some information, some things that I would like to discuss further before we take any action, just to make sure that everyone's on the same page with all information. So
We have a motion and a second.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You looking for a second?
We have
one. Already second.
You seconded.
Are you suggesting that we extend the meeting and reconvene executive session, or follow the suggestion of Senator Davis and remand this to the committee for further exploration after staff has time to consider all the ramifications of the situation as it was just explained to us in that soliloquy?
I would say that I don't care if we have executive session after the item now or at the end of the meeting, but I would still like to have those conversations while it's fresh on council for all information, and then maybe that is the result that it gets sent back to committee or back to staff.
So the
like
motion is to reconvene executive session to reconsider.
It'd be to create an executive session because that was the caucus.
Got it. Okay.
Any other comment, question? All right. So the motion on the floor is to recess to an executive session.
I would like to do it at this moment while this conversation goes on, if that's possible.
For purpose of receiving legal advice related to the Justice Square Purchase Sale Agreement Amendment.
Correct.
All right, would you do a roll call, please?
So we're going to do it now.
Pardon me?
door may be locked, so
So we have to go sit in the courtyard or what?
Are we going to finish the
Cold
meeting, or
out
we're going
there.
to do this
He
now?
wants to do it now. That's the motion on the floor. So we don't have anywhere to go is what you're telling
No,
me.
but I'm thinking that it may be better for, excuse me a second, it may be better for us to reconvene at the end of the meeting so everyone who's here on other business can accomplish that business and leave, rather than us extending their stay while we consider this an executive session.
I have no
Doesn't-
objection.
We're going to be here, so it doesn't matter to
You're going to amend
us.
the motion to push it to the end of the meeting.
Amend the motion to add an executive session to add items from ordinance 2025-50 to go to receive legal advice at the end of this meeting.
And to postpone any vote on this ordinance, to push
Until
this
then.
entire agenda item to the end of the meeting.
Correct.
All right, second to the
Yeah,
amendment.
I'll second that.
All right. Do a roll call, please. I don't know where we're going to go.
Everyone's open.
Okay, go, Octavia.
Councilmember Cunningham,
Yes.
Councilmember Bartholomew,
Yes.
Councilmember Reeds,
Yes.
Councilmember Passamick,
Yes.
Councilmember McAllen,
No,
Councilmember Lawson,
Mark Lawson, yes.
Councilmember Glover,
Yes.
Councilmember Dawson,
yes.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Vice Chair Tabinet,
Yes.
Chair Howard.
No.
Motion passes.
All right, so I'm going to progress to the next item on the agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you,
Senator Davis, you
Senator.
understand what we're doing? You understand what we're doing? We're going to proceed, then wrap, okay.
Yeah, he gets it. Okay, ordinance 2025/51 is an ordinance to amend Beaufort County's ordinance, Chapter 102 Waterways, Article 4, Abandoned and Derelict Boats, Section 102-171 through 102-183. The vote at public facilities on October 20th was unanimous, 9-0. Can I have a motion for this ordinance?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Cunningham. A second?
I'll second it.
Who
I'll
was it,
second it.
Mr. Lawson? Thank you for this second. And Mr. Kidd, would you like to discuss this?
Yes,
Again, really popular.
I'd be happy to. So just for everyone's information, this is only Article 4 of the Waterways Ordinance, and it was bifurcated from Articles 1 through 3 at the committee meeting, and I wanted to mention that will go as a discussion item on next Monday's committee agenda, and it has been put out for some public comment via the web form that we utilized the last time. So it will only be a discussion item this coming Monday on Articles 1 through 3 of the Waterways Ordinance, which deals with some additional regulations that may or may not be imposed upon our county docks, landings, etc. This is Article 4, which deals only with the process for removal of abandoned or derelict boats, and it's something we've worked on in conjunction with DNR and with the state. The first several articles of this are something we've worked on, and I know that the municipalities, Town of Hilton Head in particular, has moved forward with some of these. The substance of this removal procedure is state law. To the extent we are able to codify anything by ordinance for the removal of abandoned or derelict boats, we are required to follow state law to the T. So the vast majority of this is state law set, and we followed it exactly. We did expand some of the definition section, just as I have mentioned previously, to expand the capacity for law enforcement. So we've defined a law enforcement officer as also constituting a DNR officer could be a law enforcement officer under this section. A code enforcement officer could be a law enforcement officer under this section. And the same goes for a Beaufort County Sheriff's Office employee. So I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have regarding
Any question or comment? He's brought back what we asked Mr. Lawson.
Just a comment that obviously in the past there has been problems with boats out in the water that have been left, that have been abandoned, and there was no legislation that allowed us to go get them. And again, the state passed their legislation. We're looking at trying to mirror what we're doing here with the cities and the town and the county. Because again, if you have a county line and a town line, they can just move the boat to the other side of the of the river and B, then in the town. So we're trying to pull this all together. So again, we do have some teeth to remove abandoned boats. And then also, part of this is that people have left boats at landings for extended periods of time, and we couldn't go enforce anything because there was nothing on the book. So this part of the ordinance is to handle those two things. And of course, when we started writing this, Articles 1 through 3 came up, and I know there's some things in it we have to work on that, which again has been pulled and is separate from what we're looking at tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else comment?
Just reiterate the fact this was separated in the committee meeting, and we're working through some of those other things still. This is just the abandoned boats, not the docks or the ramps.
Correct. Because we listened to the public.
Yes, we did.
Yes, thank you.
Say
All
it
right.
for them in the back. Say it loud.
Anybody else? Yes. All right, let's take a vote. All in favor of this ordinance as presented? Raise your hand. Okay, I think we're unanimous. Thank you. Okay, last ordinance, 2025/52, an ordinance recommending approval of the 2% state accommodations tax awards as presented by the State Aid Tax Committee. The vote at Finance Committee, October 20th, was unanimous. And can I have a motion for this?
I'll make the motion.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lawson. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Howard. Ms. Harriet, I mean, I don't know if you want to speak on it, but
No, it's
it's
just
for
if you
the
have any
public, it's
questions.
in the packet. There's a list and comments from the committee. Go ahead.
No, we provided a narrative as you requested for every application that was submitted, and then you will see in the spreadsheet the requested amount and the committee's recommendations to the right, plus notes from the meeting, from the State Aid Tax Committee meeting. Does council have any questions?
And this is first reading, so it has to go to 2 more, and the people are anxiously awaiting their awards. Any other questions, comments? All right, let's take a vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, looks like it's unanimous. Thank you, Ms. Harriet. And that ends the ordinances, Ms. Howard.
Okay. Continuing on with resolutions, 16A, 2025/63, a resolution regarding the Beaufort County Personal Handbook, Section 3.3, remote work / telecommunicating policy. The vote at Finance Administration and Economic Development Committee on October 20th was 7-0. And Ms. Mead is here if anyone has any questions, and in your materials there's backup slides too. Do I have a motion?
Oh, I'll make the motion.
We have a motion regarding the resolution. A second?
I'll second.
A second by Councilman Dawson. Any questions or discussion for Ms. Mead?
Go ahead. Mr. Cunningham.
All right,
Ms. Bartholomew, if you want to go
Councilman
first, you can, either way.
Councilman Cunningham?
Oh, sorry. Can we briefly go over the policy for out-of-state employees? I know we already discussed virtual and not getting into elected officials and so on in the committee level, but just to go over that section.
So the policy we're proposing with this change is to prohibit all out-of-state virtual work. And the definition of virtual work is full-time remote.
What is the employees that currently are doing that, what would be the status of them? If this passes the way it's written currently.
So we only have 3 employees that this would fall under, and it is with an elected official. We were planning to give this a 60 to 90 day notice. I don't know if there's other opportunities of these employees to come home. I'm not sure. I would need to speak with the treasurer regarding that.
Okay, any other questions? Councilman Reeds?
Sure. You said it deals with the treasurer, those 3 employees.
Yes.
You talked to Ms. Walls about how it's going to affect her and what?
No, I've asked Ms. Walls for a full roster of her status of her employees through their job descriptions, and I have not gotten those yet, so that's why I can't confirm. It could be more than 3. All I can do is go off the address rosters that we have in our systems and have 3 employees. But no, we have not had discussions of what her plans would be with those 3 employees.
What I'd like to add, so this council understands it and everybody listening, is that I meet with an awful lot of people, and I hear very good things about the work that she does.
Sure. And
so my thing is, why could we do some, maybe let's do whatever we have to do, but let's do something to protect Ms. Walls and the work she's doing for the people.
well, and that's what we discussed in the Finance Committee. I feel like I'm screaming at you guys. That's what we discussed in the Finance Committee. It's not that it can't be done, but we would have to have the resources to secure out-of-state labor law attorneys. We'd have to pay for the unemployment insurance tax in those states. We'd have to register employment with those states. We'd have to purchase workers' comp policies throughout those states. So I'm not saying it can't be done. We would just need to make sure that there is resources available out of the general fund to make sure we're in compliance, because that's the biggest thing, is we have to be in compliance. And
That's great. How long have these employees been working with us, these three in question?
I'd have to go back and check, but
One is new.
I don't have that right in front of me.
Okay, Councilman Bartholomew.
Yeah, would there just be a way to grandfather those handful of employees into this policy as we move forward?
If that's what council desires to do, as long as we understand there would have to be funding available for the resources that I just listed off.
And we're not sure what those resources, how much it would be at this point in time.
No, I don't know what the labor law attorneys would be in those states. We'd have to get states or labor law attorneys registered in the states in which they reside, and I don't even know if that would mean we'd have to do like an RFP. That would take a lot of collaboration with the finance team.
Okay, Councilman Cunningham?
Yeah, I still had a couple more if you don't mind. What's our process for hiring for identification?
What do you mean, for
I'm
their
assuming we
I-9
ask-
purposes?
Yeah, we ask for a driver's license and
Sure.
residency.
Whatever's required on the I-9. So
And my next question is, what is our follow-up policy for employees after they're hired? Meaning, how do we know other people have not moved out of state of South Carolina that still work for us?
What is our follow-up policy when they move?
Do we have a follow-up policy? For example, we only know these people live out of state because we were informed of it by their director or whatever it might be. My question is, what policy do we have in place that checks the other X amount of employees that we have in the county to make sure that they actually live in here?
We do not have a policy in place.
You do have records like where their taxes.
I believe they're responsible for
They're
filing their own
responsible for
taxes,
updating
not
their
us.
address.
But I will piggyback on Mr. Cunningham. If we put this new policy in effect, we are following state guidance on remote work. So they would work maximum 2 days a week, which means people out of state won't qualify for that. They would need 5. That's the other part of this policy, correct?
That would be for unelected offices that can go full virtual.
Right.
That would be the difference.
Yes.
No, it's for all employees in the class and comp.
So, no, the policy that we are presenting is that employees that report to county administration are limited to 2 days virtual. However, employees that report to elected official can work full-time virtual. The only caveat exception that we are proposing is a limitation of out-of-state due to the compliance issues. Yes.
So I guess the point I'm getting to,
Let me let someone else have a chance to ask questions. Anyone
Yeah,
else? Yes, Councilman.
Since we're going to debate this for a while, could we do something tonight that protects these 3 employees for Ms. Walls, so we don't get them in the crosshairs of our
I don't think we
discussions?
know, I'll make a comment back to that. We don't know the costs.
I'm sorry?
We don't know the costs of protecting those
Please
employees.
speak in your mic. It's very difficult for me to hear.
We do, Councilman Reese, from what Ms. Mead said, we do not know the total costs of, quote, grandfathering these 3 employees that you're asking questions about.
I don't, well, then why don't we know that? If we're going to do something, we should know what our actions
You're
are gonna be.
proposing something that was not proposed. You're proposing to grandfather them. So this is a new element added.
No, but if we're going to do something, we should know the ramification. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I don't know how you do this, but why can't we know what the effects are going to be?
I'll entertain any other questions. We have a motion on the floor. All right.
Wow.
Mr. Glover?
Sure. Ms. Mead, I thank you for the revision that is being suggested. I'm going to support the motion that's on the floor because we have many other employees that we want to make sure that we're protecting. The only thing that I question is the states. And if you're out of state and having a state so close to us like Georgia, we may have employees, we probably do have employees, and I think you need to, either work on the impact that will have on our expense, but Georgia got to be included at some form because we do have employees, or we may have employees that's just working just across the river.
Yes.
That's the only thing I comment on. I would think that we have employees in Hampton and Allendale as well that's further away from us, but they're not in another state. And I think the distance and with the roads that we have is easy and very convenient to drive from Georgia, from Pooler or whatever to work. But, just consider those employees and what impact that's having. But when you start looking at other states, I think the elected official who desire to do that needs to come to you and work out and see what those numbers are and then bring forward back to us.
Yeah, and it's not just HR. It would be a collaborative effort between risk management, HR, finance, and legal.
All of
But
it.
to your point, yes, the policy we're proposing will allow employees to commute to Pooler, Savannah, Rincon, as long as they're within a reasonable commuting distance. And I think after the Finance Committee, I was interested with your comment and went and map quested, and because your concern was, is 60 minutes enough to get to Savannah? And MapQuest had it at 57 minutes. I mean, we certainly would still include our employees to be eligible remotely commuting from the Savannah area.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilman Cunningham, you had another question?
Yes, ma'am, if I may. Do we know how much it would cost to bring all these employees into the building?
So we have surveyed all of the county administration employees, and we don't have any employees that are full-time virtual. We have 43 that are already doing a hybrid approach. So there's already office spaces for those employees that report to county administration.
What about the ones that report to other elected officials?
As I stated, I don't know that count other than the 3 with 1 elected official.
Yeah, my biggest fear, honestly, is we're punishing employees that we're admitting that are doing a good job by a status quo that, again, that we've had people say that we're changing things on the fly. So at the bare minimum, I think we should be discussing grandfathering the staff we have in, but I think we also do need to protect ourselves, like you said. There has to be some way to do that. So I guess my question would be for legal or for you guys, and I don't have the answer. I mean, I did some research and I've seen other people do it, but can there be an agreement when employees move out that they have to follow, that they sign and agree to the rights of workforcing in South Carolina?
I would need to talk with our labor law attorneys on that.
Okay, so this is first reading. I mean, I don't know if we can get that information by second. I know that, again, that's a short term. But what I would propose today, just in the meantime while we're having those conversations, to see if that can be done so we're not firing employees that we know that are doing a good job, because realistically, that's what it is. Let's call it what it is.
I think the administrator would like to make,
It's a resolution.
and then
so
I'll
this
come back
would
to you,
be-
David.
There's no other reading. So
It's a resolution, it's one year.
if there are questions and we need to come back, we can come back at the next meeting.
Well, then, for the discussion today, then I would make the amendment that we grandfather in employees currently that work for Beaufort County as of November 10th, 2025.
I'll second that.
We still have, okay. I'd like to give you an opportunity to say something.
Yeah,
Councilmember Bartholomew.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around this, and I apologize. So the remote work rules in conjunction with the remote work agreement and just the definitions in this proposal here, if I'm understanding this correct, it's still on a case-by-case basis and applicable to the elected officials, right?
Correct.
Okay, so if it's on a case-by-case basis and we can have a remote work agreement, which is one of the definitions in here, couldn't that elected official just get an agreement put in place with those 3 people if they are already the ones that authorize it? and it not affect the rest of the employees that we're trying to pass through here? Like, literally, with the language as written, without any changes, wouldn't it be applicable here?
It would, but I think what I'm hearing is the concern of the compliance, which is all of staff's concerns with out-of-state remote workers, which is why the proposed policy, while it still would have an agreement required for all employees, we've also made the change where elected official can make their own determination for their staff, whereas county administration staff is limited to 2 days a week. So all that's there, and that would be part of that agreement. And that would be required for all employees that are going to work remotely, whether it's an elected official or county administration staff.
Okay, and I get follow-up to that. I'm not a labor attorney, and so this is a genuine question.
Sure.
Is there a choice of law or choice of venue that we could put into that remote work agreement?
And I think that's
I'm sorry.
was what Mr. Cunningham was asking, which I stated I would need to confirm with a labor law attorney. The advice that they have given us up to this point is that we certainly would be subject to the jurisdiction of the governing state in which the employee resides. Gotcha. And that's what's concerning for us.
My question is, at this point in time, we don't know the costs of that if we grandfathered 3 employees. I'm looking to administration to...
We don't know the cost of that, but it's more impactful than that because the state where they live would assert jurisdiction for any cause of action. If there's wrongful termination, they would sue us in that state. If they slip and have an accident, they would sue us in that state. They would be subject to workers' comp laws in that state. If they have a labor law requirement, we would have to meet those requirements in that state.
Yeah, it all depends on where the states are and what those laws are. For those that went back and watched the Finance Committee meeting, and there's just different laws in every state. For example, overtime. We would have to start paying overtime after 8 hours a day versus 40 in the week. And it's just hard to know what all that is until we understand what all those labor laws are. What I gave you is just a brief overview, but it's hard to give you a price standing here today until we actually talk with a labor law attorney for those states to understand not only what is the cost of retaining the labor law, but all of the things that we need to do to get in compliance, because right now we are not in compliance.
Okay, we had a motion.
Sorry, one other follow-up on that.
Okay.
Sure.
So if compliance is the major concern and not wanting to put that on county staff and administration, is it possible for that elected official to take over the responsibility and have it wholly inside of her or that elected official's office, and that way the liability is with that department?
I will defer to our county attorney as far as who would be responsible for defending litigation.
I mean, if we allow it and let them establish their own HR or sub-HR, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
You could certainly put the responsibility on them to make sure they're in compliance with each of those states, but it's still their county employees, and they're going to be in that state. It's still going to fall to the county, and you have to approve the budgets to provide the money to pay for all those services that they have to meet to bring it into compliance. So it's going to rise to this level ultimately anyway. It's ultimately going to be your responsibility in approving the budget and then ensuring that they're following through and meeting those requirements, because if they fail to meet those requirements, who gets sued? The county.
We always get sued. Just throwing that out there too.
That's true, but it'll be in a different state.
Yes, sir. Councilman Kellen.
Listen, this is another perfect example of having an argument in public with something that should have been discussed and decided and then explained. All of these questions have to be answered in a meeting. I think we should remand this back for further study. This is not the place for questions that should have been asked already to be asked and answered. We'll be here all night doing this if we do this.
So we have parliamentarian, we had the first motion, second, and then we had another motion by Councilman Cunningham, seconded by Councilman Reeves.
And what was the second motion?
The second motion was
to grandfather the
three employees, and that was seconded by Councilman Reeves.
And I just want to have one more point to make. Mr.
Can I just finish that? I don't mean to say we should have a secret meeting to discuss that.
No.
I don't want to be accused of that. I am simply saying that it needs to be discussed in its entirety and then presented here with conclusions, not questions.
Well,
okay, so I was going to make a comment. This went to Finance Administration Economic Development October 20th. It was discussed at length every question. All of this was brought up. It was discussed at length. These are not new questions.
Well, it doesn't sound like there are answers to the old questions.
Then why don't we have the answers to those questions?
Well, that's my...
No,
Okay,
really,
so we
seriously.
have
I suggest again, we remand this back for further discussion to administration until we can get this resolved and make a logical presentation.
Would you like to make that motion?
I would love to make that motion.
And who would like to
I'll
second it?
second
I'll
by-
second it.
Oh, Councilman Dawson beat you to the, all right, so this is the third motion, and with this one we will vote on, okay? All right, all in favor of Councilman McCallan's motion, by sign of hands,
You can remand it back.
all right?
But if
Remand it
everybody's
back.
not there, it's a moot point, so let's
So-
roll again.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I would ask all council members to review that meeting that you cited, October 20th.
And I'm just, for
And-
clarification, so people know, that would be Monday, is the next meeting.
Yes, sir.
Madam Chairman,
Councilman Glover? Yes.
So we don't have a date on that, I'm just saying, right now, that agenda review is Wednesday.
For
Councilman
that
Glover,
committee, then it goes back
let's
to-
go on. Councilman Glover, you wanted to make a comment?
Just want to make a comment that I supported his motion to send it back, but I also think that the staff, the administration needs to know exactly what it is that they need to look at.
Well, what I heard was
Make it clear to
costs.
them.
I don't know how you pin those costs down for 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 people. I mean, it could grow.
It's going to depend on the state. You've got 49 other states, so
Yes.
there's 49 questions plus. Is it
49
limited
states.
to in-state, United States only, or are we talking beyond the United States? So these are the questions we have as
You could
administration.
have someone working in Guam, right?
Correct.
Yeah, or Italy. Okay. All right, so that motion was passed. It will be remanded back to the Finance Committee.
Is that where it's going? That's Monday, so it won't be Monday.
It won't be Monday's meeting. It'll be January.
And
Be next year.
Be in
is there
January.
anything in this, we're talking about grandfathering 3, what's the prohibition from hiring 10 more?
Well, you didn't vote on that motion.
We didn't vote on
Oh,
that.
okay,
Yeah.
but this
But
one
that
just
discussion should be
remains.
had. So that's was one of the points I was trying to get to is, if we're going to come up with a process, we should come up with a process. People that run their departments, I don't tell you how to run your department. If you feel you have a good employee that's
can't.
successful to the county, maybe it's not just these 3. Maybe there is a process for the other. Maybe that somebody else moves in 2 years. I don't want to just say these 3. If that's the action we had to take today, that was the motion I was going with. But the point is, I want to see if there's a way that we can get employees that decide to move out of the state that have already worked for the county. We didn't hire them out of state. They worked for us in the state previously. We know they're good employees. Can they sign an agreement that they would agree to South Carolina's laws?
I don't think that the agreement would hold up because you determine your place of employment based upon where you work every day.
And I think that's something we can discuss, not tonight, but that's my biggest question.
Okay.
And I don't have the answer.
We ready to move on? Thank you, Ms. Mead.
Thank you.
Perhaps every council member can send Ms. Mead
Their-
their questions.
Great suggestion, yes.
That would be very helpful.
Yes. that
Specific
would be-
questions, and please copy the chairman and vice chairman if you would like, or not, but it would be nice to copy us too. All right, moving on to 16B, 2025-64, resolution approving a proposed Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation expenditure of site and jobs funds at a 50% match on a State Department of Commerce site enhancement grant for the extension of natural gas infrastructure in the Beaufort Commerce Park pending approval of the state grant award. The motion for approval failed 3-4 at the Finance Administration and Economic Development Committee meeting on October 20th, 25. And we have Mr. Amundson here. And we need a motion to go forward for discussion. And
So moved, Madam Chairman.
okay, I have a motion by Councilman Glover, a second by Councilman Brown. Okay? Mr. Amundson.
Yes, this is as I've said at committee, a state site enhancement fund program through the Department of Commerce. John O'Toole will present on the next 2 items are both related to the Beaufort Commerce Park, and they are to apply for a state site enhancement grant with which the county site and job funds would be the source of funds for the 50% match on both of those projects. And here's John with more details.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Council. It's a pleasure to be with you tonight. What you have before you is fundamental economic development. When I read through the 2040 Comprehensive Plan, pages 41 through 47, this council decided that economic development should include infrastructure build-out for the types of jobs and the types of investments you'd like to see. It speaks to, in your comprehensive plan, incentives and trying to encourage spec building. Also, it talks about locations and sites and then wage growth. So I have just a few slides I believe I can walk you through pretty quickly. We could go back one slide. Okay. So the legislature and the South Carolina Economic, if we could go back to the slide we were just on. Am I controlling anything here? What's that? Okay. This is the right slide. So the South Carolina Economic Development Association appealed to the legislature, and in this past spring, they approved a fund of $80 million. Because and if you've been to our Converge summits, Harry Lightsey spoke to this earlier this year, that without product, it's hard to get the kind of jobs that you want. When our staff, I have our senior project manager, Kelly Brunson, with us tonight, so many projects are looking for things that are ready to go. So the legislature understood that. Now, thinking back to the comprehensive plan, you want to have infrastructure where you want to see the type of development you want to have. So the first item that we'll look at is the extension of a gas line in the Beaufort Commerce Park. And so, I don't think... It takes a minute for it to... Okay. So she's telling me to calm down. And I will. Okay. I'm going to press this once and put it down. There you go. Okay. So it's going to happen. So in the slide you have before you, this is the extension of gas lines. And what we are expecting to do, as you can see by that dotted line, that we're going to run gas line further into the park, which will help us attract prospects. The cost out of the site fund, and the reason the county established the site fund, and even in the last fiscal year, you stepped it up to 1.3 mils, is so that we could acquire sites and build out infrastructure. So on this, we'll make the park a better target for investors, and the state will pick up $65,000 of that $130,000 budget. In the next slide, you'll see that we're looking for a pad site in the park. And when, is there a slide missing here? What's that? Oh, okay, got it. Okay, so it's in the next. Okay, thank you. Okay, and then I did send out a piece just describing, so all the council members should have received a piece on site readiness. But a council member did get back to me and said that I'm concerned about the job growth. So what we did is we graphed the the issue was the wages that the jobs we're attracting are paying. So if you look at it over the last 5 years, it's been trending up. So if you took that amount that the average job that we were attracting was just under $46,000, and today we are closer to $69,000 per job. So that's a 52% growth in the wages that we're attracting in the job. So I hope that when you look at these two items, you realize that staff is focused not on large cavernous buildings that don't pay people and move them out of the cycle of poverty, but that we're really improving lives. If you look at the household average median income in Beaufort County and you're at 81, we get two people in a house making the wages that we've seen in the last 2 years. So if you look at 2024, wages have increased 43%. And if you look at 2025, the wage increase over that 5-year period was 52%. So we would ask that you support the gas line extension. It's just a basic requirement for economic development. And I'd be happy to answer questions on that.
All right, any questions?
Just
Yes, sir,
one.
Councilman.
Mr. O'Toole, thank you for being here, and Ms. Brunson, thank you as well. I followed this group closely over the last number of years, and I applaud your efforts. You talked about getting money from the state, grants or whatever. That's all committed for this gas line. They're gonna...
No, we won't do the project unless we get the grant, but you need to match it with local funds. That's why we're asking if we can use the site fund budget that's allocated to us.
Thank you.
Right. The new policy that we put into place is for them to be able to fully allocate and promise the use of our county site and job funds. It needs the council approval, so that's why it's here, so that you can finalize the application to make this move forward. If they don't get the grant, they don't spend the funds.
If we don't get the grant, say that again, Hank?
Our funds are only needed to match the grant. And as it says in the packet in the resolution, that they will only be expended if the grant is actually received.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from council members? All right. I'm sorry, Councilman Passman. Yes, sir.
Yes, it has.
When will we know?
We believe in December, a couple of weeks.
Any other questions? Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Mr. O'Toole, how do we know what the salaries are going to be if we don't even have a company that's coming here?
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? How do we know what the salaries are going to be if we don't even have a company that's coming here yet? This is just speculative.
We don't know what's going to happen in the future.
Right. Yeah, I know.
You had mentioned that you had gone to the SCA golf tournament.
Yeah.
We are following the same playbook as our regional partners are, as every other county in the state of South Carolina. So the legislature earmarked $80 million to help communities do economic development. By going forward with this project, you're actually bringing taxpayer dollars back into your county, our county. We don't know. We can only handle the projects that we recruit, and we've done a pretty good job if you look at the 5-year trend in wages, and we would expect to see that those wages climb and the quality of jobs we attract be good.
Any other questions from council members? I voted not in favor of this at committee level, but I am going to vote for it because natural gas lines are essential to any industry, and I understand that. This is the city's industrial park, but jobs are jobs, and I will be voting for it. All right, we ready to take a vote?
Let me.
Councilman Glover.
Let me ask a question. John, the gas line is partially in the park now, right?
Correct.
And so we have accomplished that in the past. So now we're trying to extend the gas line further into the park to develop a site that company would look at that site and hopefully select that this is where I want to establish my business.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So you have done that in the past, and it's proven fruitful to get us where we are as far as economic development is in the county now. Because a lot of you were not on council in the early days when John, when we, this council, not this council, but the county council, set up the Economic Development Corporation. And then we hired John as the executive director of the corporation. All right. And so they started from scratch. There was very little economic development in Beaufort County. And the council at that time saw the importance and the need of establishing economic development in Beaufort County to help be a part to set aside or defray the tax on the constituents or the citizens of the county, to where we wouldn't have to rely solely on property taxes and tourism. So this has proven, economic development over the years has proven to be effective in adding a third leg to actually supporting the county economically. And now John has the opportunity to to get the state to pay 50% on extending this gas line further into the Commerce Park that we might continue with our economic development process. And so I think it's something that we all need to get on board and support. I support it. We are doing, compared to where we used to be, we're doing not excellent, but we're doing a great job. John and the Economic Development Corporation, they're doing a great job as far as bringing jobs to the county. It's not off the chart, but we've come a long ways from where we started.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Dawson. Councilman Brown, you had a comment?
I respectfully disagree with a few things that Mr. Dawson said. This failed in finance, as our Madam Chair had mentioned previously. Economic development is not building something and hope they will come. They are already here. They are already coming here. This is putting the cart before the horse. I'm asking my colleagues to please vote no on this tonight and give Beaufort County EDC time to come back to council and show us a solid agreement they have from a company that wants to move into the space. I feel that's fair and being a good steward of the taxpayer money. All I'm asking is that, okay, fine, we need gas lines in there, but what companies are going to come in and what are the salaries going to be? We already should have a company coming in. We don't, right? Am I right, John? It's just, this is speculative.
If I could,
right?
no.
Am I wrong?
We had a 2 o'clock call Friday afternoon with a company out of Albany, New York, looking at parcel D, which is at the end of that gas line. They have kilns. They make ceramic parts for industry. So, no, we expect a purchase agreement on Lot D, which is at the end of the gas line. I don't have that purchase agreement in hand, but I'm confident in the next 60 days I shall. So, but this idea of the cart and the horse, you actually do need to have a horse ready to go, and gas, electricity, water and sewer are just prerequisites. You have to have them if you're going to be a viable site for business and industry. And I trust that you will believe me in that, and I trust with all of the contacts you have and the events you go to with the South Carolina County Associations, I know that the speakers that appear before you tell you your sites have to be ready if you're going to land the industry.
Okay, if there's no other comments, we'll have a vote on this. All in favor?
We're voting on 2 items or one?
We're just voting on the first one, the gas line. All in favor of the gas line?
No.
You've got it count? Do you have the count?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all opposed? All right, can you tell us the count, please?
It's 9-2.
I thought it was 9-3. Joe voted against it. Oh, you voted yes. I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry, Joe. Okay, 9-2?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda is, this is the second part. Yeah, 2025-64 resolution approving a proposed Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation expenditure of site and jobs funds as a 50% match on a state of commerce site enhancement grant to construct and permit a pad site in the Beaufort Commerce Park pending approval of the state grant award. Motion failed 3-4 at the Finance Administration and Economic Development Committee on October 20th.
May
Madam Chairman, you want a motion on the floor?
Yes, please.
I so move.
A motion by Councilman Glover. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman McKellen. Okay.
I don't need to introduce him, but I'll do it again, and I will just say, just traditional economic development statewide and nationwide is a raw piece of land with no sewer, no water, and no gas, or a lot of times no pad, or even a lot of cases no building is not a site to a business, because the business that does want to choose here needs to be ready to go. They need to have a timeline and take off some risk. So that's what these site enhancement funds, this is determined by a state thing, not by a John program. So this next one is for a pad site so that somebody can come in and build more quickly so that they can be up and running more quickly.
Okay.
Madam Chairman, can I speak to the motion? Oh, we have a motion later.
We have a motion. All right. Is there any questions for Mr. O'Toole?
I'll speak. I'll try to be brief. Keep in mind, I showed you the comprehensive plan. In it, you mentioned incentives and spec build. So that's what we're moving towards, and this is a less expensive way to demonstrate to the market that you have a site that's ready. In the low country, as you might imagine, it's difficult to come out of the ground. And so Commerce, in its wisdom, creates a site readiness program where we can do a pad. Keep in mind, as you drove up 95 for the last 6 years, there's a building in Colleton County. It looked like an Aztec design, you recall? And that building sat there for 6 years, empty. That is the South Carolina model. I believe in Beaufort County, people have less of a tolerance for having capital tied up for 6 years and having an empty building. But the pad site that we're recommending, and you can see the budget before you, it's a $400,000 expenditure, $4,488. We have a big red arrow there showing you a site that we did back in 2019 where we put the pad in place. And today, that's a picture of the building that was taken last week. But that shows you a $35 million investment that went on that pad. Just to give a little bit of credit, Charlie Stone was our intern at the time, and we gave him a real project to work on. He secured the funding for that pad. So we got $200,000 from Commerce. We put $133 of county dollars into that pad development, and today you have a $35 million investment that's going there that will create over 100 jobs in the park. So that's the model. If you like it, I ask for you to approve it. I think it's a penny-wise approach to coming up with the site that's ready for economic development, and I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. O'Toole? Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Mr.
question for
Cunningham.
clarification. I know this is a 50-50 split, just like the other one for the 200,000 and change. At the bottom, though, it says you guys applied for another one. The agreement on the previous one was you're only going to move forward if you do get the money from the state. I'm assuming this is the same as well. Is that also tied into the second grant?
No, it's not. We're asking for $200,000. Not to put anyone on the spot, but we've applied for utility tax credits to offset that $100,000. That's in process. We don't know if that'll be approved or not. If we got the $200,000, we would only draw down one.
Right. So if that additional grant is received, he's asking the county for $200,000. If he gets the 100, our expenditure would only be 100 because it would offset our share.
So considering that's a piece of property that you're building a pad on and you're going to sell the property, I'm assuming, for a profit, where does that profit go? And is it possible for a portion of that, if you don't get that grant, to come back to the county?
We might get into trouble with the Department of Commerce because usually when we get the right industry there, Commerce builds that into a grant for the company. The land that we're looking to do the pad on is owned by the city of Beaufort, so they would get $40,000 an acre when we sell the land underneath the project.
Okay.
So we're paying for the infrastructure and the town of Beaufort's getting the the revenue source from it?
Yeah, economic development has been a collaborative effort, whether we do a project in Hilton Head or Bluffton or Port Royal or Beaufort or Yamasee or the unincorporated areas. It's really been the lion's share of tax revenue will come to the county.
How many acres is that plot of land?
That one, 5, thank you, Kelly.
So they're going to get $220,000, the amount of money that we're putting into the project, at $44,000 an acre.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Yes. Joe has a comment, question?
John, you said you were in negotiations with the company from Albany. If you are, is this everything site-specific to their needs?
The size of it would fit their needs, and we'll have a conversation with the Department of Commerce if that sales agreement comes forward, and that would probably be rolled into the company's incentive.
Okay, but it also mean that the gas line may be necessary to meet their needs if their company is, using natural gas?
What we do, Councilman Passament, is we've gotten their expected loads, we've gotten their New York gas consumption, and Dominion will give the gas line a credit for the expected use. You have to pay what they call a contribution in aid of construction that's not covered by that one customer to extend the gas line. So we're paying the delta on the gas line.
Any other questions? Yes, Councilman Bartholomew.
I don't mind extending the infrastructure out there because I think that improves the property value, but personally I've been contemplating this property as a whole a lot lately, and I think we just need to coordinate with the city of Beaufort and put it on the market to sell the entire thing. Let the private sector take over, and I don't think the government needs to keep propping up this Commerce Park. I think there's been an effort. I've tried to support it, but just looking at it now, I don't know if I can continue to support it in this capacity. So I just want to make that comment on it.
Okay, if there are not any other questions, we'll have a vote. All in favor, signify by raising their hand. You got it? All opposed? Did you get, Ms. Ashley? You get?
4 no's.
Who's the other one?
David.
Madam Chairman, what was the vote?
All right, did you get the count?
Seems like we're missing one. Can we do it over?
Can you?
Did you get Joe on the camera?
You want to do a roll
All
call?
right, let's do a roll call vote, okay?
Thank
Just to
you,
be
Madam
sure.
Chair.
All in favor of this resolution? You're going to call our names out, please? Okay. Maker of the motion was?
Yes.
Councilmember Glover?
He said yes.
Councilmember McEllen?
Yes.
Councilmember Reeds?
Yes.
Councilmember Passament?
Yes.
Councilmember Lawson?
Mark Lawson, yes.
Councilmember Dawson?
Yes.
Councilmember Cunningham?
No.
Councilmember Brown?
No.
Councilmember Bartholomew?
No.
Vice Chair Tabernick?
No.
Chair Howard?
Yes.
The vote is 7-4, motion passes.
Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is Resolution 2025/66, a resolution to accept South Carolina Aeronautics Commission Commercial Airport Entitlement Grant Funding for the design and bidding of parking lot improvements at Hilton Head Airport, contingent upon final grant offer. The vote at Public Facilities Committee on October 20th, 25 was 8-0.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second by Councilman Glover. All in favor, signify by raising your hand. And that is unanimous. Okay. Resolution 2025/67, a resolution authorizing the county administrator to enter into a non-competitive master service agreement, MSA, for airport surveillance services, Univox Corporation. The vote at Public Facilities Committee on October 20th, 2025 was 8-0. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
A motion by Vice Chairman Tabernick. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
A second by Councilman Brown. All in favor by show of hands? And that is unanimous. Resolution 2025/68, a resolution authorizing the county administrator to execute Schedule A, Flight Line Subscription Agreement, Surveillance Data License Agreement with Univox, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Corporation. The vote was at Public Facilities on October 20th, 25, 8-0. All in favor?
Motion on the floor.
Motion, we need a motion. Who makes the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councilman Cunningham. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second by Councilman McKellen. All in favor by show of hands? And that is unanimous. G, 2025/69, a resolution to accept South Carolina Aeronautics Commission Commercial Airport Entitlement Grant funding for the Flightline Airborne Position Reference Tool at Hilton Head Island Airport's Air Traffic Control Tower. This is contingent upon final grant approval.
So moved.
I have a motion.
Second.
We have a second by Councilman Reitz. All in favor by show of hands?
John, you got it easy?
Yes, unanimous. One more. 2025/70, a resolution establishing a traffic advisory committee to develop recommendations for potential 2026 transportation sales tax referendum. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Who made the first motion?
Mr. McKellen.
McKellen, and a second by Vice Chairman Tabernick, and we'll have our administrator come forward for that.
Good evening again. You have before you a resolution that would establish the Transportation Advisory Committee to consider and develop recommendations for the potential 2026 transportation sales tax referendum. We've had these discussions previously, and we had previously presented a resolution for a capital sales tax. That's come back to staff with a recommendation or direction from council to consider a transportation sales tax. So this would start the process for that. It would be a 15-member committee. Each council member would have a nomination and an appointment onto the committee, as well as each of the 4 municipalities for a total of 15. Staff, Mr. Fralix would be the liaison to the committee to present projects that would be considered. The committee's role would be to look at those proposals, make recommendations, look at the prioritization, and consider what projects should be, from top to bottom, considered as part of the referendum. We have had conversations I have with each of the managers, and we also had meetings with the chair, vice chair, and myself, with the mayors and the managers. Those conversations were positive for the most part. I would say the city of Beaufort seemed to be more in favor of a capital sales tax. The other municipalities were largely in favor of a transportation sales tax. So with that, if you have any questions, happy to take those.
And the minutes and notes from those meetings with the mayors were sent out by Ms. Tabernick.
I believe Ms. Tabernick sent those out, yes.
And with the school board, too. So
That's
I'll
correct,
open it
and the
up
school
for
board.
questions and comments. Councilman Cunningham.
I know other times when we've done committees, we clarified no elected officials on the committee. Is that in this one as well?
That is in the resolution, yes.
Thank
I
you.
have a question.
Yes,
Madam
Councilman
Chair.
Brown.
It's my understanding from my constituents, I have some really great constituents, I have to say that. It's my understanding that each council member gets to appoint someone from their own district on
That's
this
correct.
committee? That's correct?
Yes.
And we have until December or something to do that?
December 5th is what we're
And
we're
how
planning.
do we do that?
I think you would just consider who in your district would be a suitable candidate to be on the committee, and you'd make that known to, I would think, to the chair.
Oh, no, to the chair and vice chair?
I think that's appropriate, and then
Okay.
we could look at installing all those members as recommended by each council member. And then what we would do is send notification to each of the mayors to ask them to provide a recommendation for a committee member.
Do they need like an engineering degree or anything like that?
That would be helpful, but they don't have to.
Okay.
I think it needs to be somebody who, just in my opinion, has an interest in this, maybe has a background in working in transportation or finance or other areas where, because I think what we want is a committee that can ask the tough questions of staff and bring you forth a sound recommendation to put on the ballot.
Well, it's my district and Mr. Cunningham's district that they both have contacted me. So.
And there would be some overlap because the town of Bluffton would also have an appointment as well. So,
but they like the idea that someone from each district.
Councilman Tack?
So I just want to reiterate that we're following a model that we gleaned from the Beaufort County School District. And Mr. Smith is back there. I'd like to recognize him as a board member. They successfully passed a referendum in 19 and 23, and we listened very, very carefully. And this committee, this is different than the last committee. This committee will prioritize projects that we would put forward. They're not going to go out and find the projects. That's a big difference this time. And it worked really well for the school district, and I have real faith it'll work for us.
and as part of that, we would, as we get the prioritization from the committee, we would hire an engineering firm. Actually, what the school district did is they hired two different engineering firms to do cost estimates. They had two different cost estimates on each of the projects. So once they've been determined, we can prioritize and then know how much, have good sound cost estimates on the projects.
Yes. Any other comments or questions? One thing that they mentioned, the school board mentioned, is that you do want some naysayers too. Someone who you think will question everything.
Healthy skepticism would be much welcome to ask the tough questions. We do want
the real
to
tough
have
questions.
those.
We don't want yes people.
Oh, I got one for you.
Okay, good, good, it's okay. That's good. Okay, so we've had the motion and a second. Any other questions before we vote? Do we need to do a roll call vote? All right, all in favor by show of hands of this resolution? Okay, all opposed? All right.
One opposition.
Sir?
Joe has his hand up.
Joe's opposed?
He voted for it.
He voted yes. He did.
We understood you.
When you're not here, you get blamed for everything.
So that was unanimous, and we
Joe,
are
it's 'cause it's
now
delayed.
going to...
You kept your hand up too long, Joe.
Okay, so we'll get the notifications out to the.
Okay, so now I have a question for, do we now adjourn this meeting and go into executive session? Stay in the meeting. Stay in the meeting. We are going to reset, we are going to move ourselves, and there may be something to come out of executive session.
Yes, ma'am.
And is that room that we were in open? Okay, so we will go to executive session.
And for the record, you already voted on the reason for the executive session.
Right, okay. We are now out of executive session, and there are matters arising out of executive session.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Cunningham?
I move that ordinance 2025/50, an ordinance to amend ordinance 2022/46, authorizing the county administrator to execute any and all documents necessary for the sale of county-owned real properties identified as 1407 King Street and 600 Williamson Street, City of Beaufort, be deferred to our next county council meeting, which I believe is December 8th.
Do I have a second?
Second.
A second? Who made the second?
You can give it to Mr. McGowan.
Councilman McGowan made the second. Thank you. There being no further business?
Madam Chair?
What's that?
We first have
We
to take a
got
vote.
Okay.
But
By
as
sign
part,
of hands.
but as part of the discussion, you want to point out that you're directing staff to meet with the developer and his legal counsel to see if we can work out terms.
Do we need to, that needs to be?
That's just part of the discussion as far as the direction to staff.
Okay, any other questions or discussion?
Well, we have to make that statement that we're directing staff to meet
Yes.
with the developer and his attorneys prior to the next meeting.
Which is December 8th.
Have discussions with regard to how we're going to proceed.
Correct.
Yes?
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Ready for the vote? All in favor by show of hands? And that is unanimous. Now, we can adjourn the regular meeting of today, November 10th. Thank you.
You're watching BCTV. Live, work, play.
I'm Emery Campbell, and this is Beaufort County Moments. I want to talk a little bit about food today. The food has been a great part of our life in terms of gathering food and preparing them. Our food is based on the land and the sea. The land food has always been rice. We don't feel we have eaten dinner unless we've had rice. Rice was mixed with various items from the sea, like oysters or shrimp. And when they're cooked with rice in one pot, we call it a rice or shrimp or an oyster perlo. And then we have the watermelons and the sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes was always eaten with fish. And fresh fish with gravy and a sweet potato, there is nothing better. Okra has always been a very important part of our foodways. We raise them as well as we prepare them with shrimp and tomatoes. And some people would call that a gumbo. And that's exactly what it is, okra gumbo. And so, enjoy the food of the Low Country because it's been very much a part of our history. This is Emery Campbell. This has been your Beaufort County Moment.
To see more Beaufort County Moments, go to the Beaufort County Library homepage and click on the Local History tab.